Welcome to Chinese Novel Audiobook. Chapter 21 On's Past. Enjing. Aunt. After hearing this, the scene suddenly fell silent. Zhang Xiaoru looked at Yi Ran on the left and the Lord of Grey Mist on the right, then stood aside tactfully and studied her staff. The Lord of Grey Mist was still shrouded in grey mist, without any expression. After a moment, the Lord of Grey Mist let out a long sigh, "That's all." As the words fell, the grey mist area dissipated like smoke. The three returned to the room again, and the smoke around the Lord of Grey Mist also dissipated. Zhang Xiaoru glanced at him quietly with her peripheral vision and was stunned. At this moment, a woman stood there. She was wearing a tight-fitting long dress. Her curly figure was amazing. Under the white light in the room, the whiteness of the woman's skin was not covered. Her long curly hair fell gently on her arms like a waterfall. Her facial features were delicate and generous, supporting the heavy makeup with great visual impact. Flaming red lips, exquisite beauty. If Luwanyi is the snow lotus on the iceberg, then the woman in front of her is the blooming rose. She has the ultimate feminine charm, charming and dangerous. Who would have thought that under the cover of smoke, there is such a stunning woman? The woman's expression was complicated. "You are still as sharp as ever, Shaoran." After that, the woman took out a cigarette from her hand like a magic trick, lit it and put it to her mouth. "Tell me, when did you find out that it was mine?" Quote. Yi Ran looked at the woman in front of him and responded, "From the moment you lost your temper and beat Zhang Zi to enter." Yi Ran didn't guess it, it was clearly written in the free tavern information given to him by the system. Le Enjing, one of the three extraordinary people in the free tavern, a genius of the previous generation of the Le family, left the Le family due to special changes, accepted the inheritance of the Grey Mist Soul Envoy statue of the free tavern, and broke through the extraordinary. Yi Ran was looking for answers and clues, so naturally he found the trick from the beginning. "And Enjing, you started attacking Zhang Zi before we got close. The real purpose was to make us stop 10 meters away. You were afraid that if we got close to the Le family's mental method, it would be inductive." Quote. Yi Ran analyzed slowly. After that, relying on his irritable personality, it was natural for him to force Luwanyi and the others not to come in. Quote. "Also, you were able to tell me that I was from the Yi family right away, and when I advanced, you said the word reckless without observing me carefully, which shows that you are too familiar with me." Yi Ran said decisively. "A woman who is so familiar with me, who does not exist in the aristocratic family, and who is very reluctant to contact Luwanyi and Enjing, I really can't think of another person except you." Listening to Yi Ran's analysis, Le Enjing rubbed her big waves irritably. "Abnormal. You actually have the energy to care about external things when you are sprinting to advance." Le Enjing took a breath and concealed her embarrassment. After all, as a superhuman, it is really embarrassing to be exposed by a kid of the gold level. Afterwards, Le Enjing was a person who could take it or leave it, and did not dwell on this trivial matter. Instead, she said frankly, "Forget it, you have been smart since you were a child, and it is understandable that you found out. But forget about meeting Wanyi. After all, I am no longer a member of the Le family." Quote. Yi Ran looked at Le Enjing's attitude, and his mind was full of thoughts. From the fact that Yi Ran called Le Enjing aunt, it can be seen how close the Yi family and the Le family are. So Yi Ran also knew about Le Enjing's affairs. Back then, Le Enjing was just like Luwanyi now. Gifted, beautiful, a favorite of God with all the advantages. Especially the Le family's ancestral skills, Qingxin Qinpu, which could actually affect the soul of a diamond-level master in the Golden Age. She was once called a rare genius of the sect in 1,000 years. And her talent was even far beyond the current Luwanyi. It's just that the way of heaven is to take away the surplus and make up for the deficiency. God gave Le Enjing countless advantages, but gave her an insurmountable love tribulation. She fell in love with a commoner boy, Wang Shanghe. This incident caused an uproar the moment it was exposed. Even in this open era, the love between aristocratic families and common people will be obstructed in every possible way. Not to mention Le Enjing's era. As soon as the incident broke out, Le Enjing was confined to her home by the head of the Le family, Luwanyi's grandfather. Le Enjing also agreed to the confinement conditions of the head of the Le family on the grounds of saving Wang Shanghe. However, half a month later, Le Enjing received the news of Li Shanghe's death. At that time, Le Enjing went crazy to argue with her father. After the quarrel, Le Enjing never appeared in the Le family again. And Enjing, you also know the situation at that time. The reason why Grandpa La did this was to protect you in disguise. Yi Ran said. After all, the thoughts of that era were more extreme. The aristocratic families regarded family background as more important than anything else. Once such a situation of aristocratic families and common people falling in love appeared. If you go out, you will be mocked by other families at any time, and those who are more excessive are likely to be attacked by other families. The reason why the head of the La family chose house arrest is actually to protect his daughter in disguise. You are right, the old man protected his daughter. La Enjing blew a smoke ring, and his thoughts were flying. It has been nearly 20 years since the incident. Right or wrong is no longer important. I am too lazy to pursue it anymore. La Enjing continued, but I am disgusted by those hypocritical families. They talk about fairness and justice, but they put interests first behind the scenes, La Enjing glanced at Yi Ran. Xiao Ran, you should feel no less than me. Yi Ran smiled bitterly. After all, his predecessor had a childhood marriage due to strength problems. But he just put it aside and dealt with it coldly, even to the point of not asking each other. Isn't this hypocritical approach also the standard style of the family? La Enjing looked at Yi Ran, and continued with a gloating look. But the La family may have really made a mistake this time, and actually let such a real dragon go. Tisk tisk tisk, I'm really looking forward to the old man's expression when you suddenly appear. During the time spent with Yi Ran, as an extraordinary person, La Enjing was extremely sure that Yi Ran was not an ordinary person, and would sooner or later become a dragon and phoenix at the center of the world. If the hypocrites of the La family knew that they had missed such a real dragon, they would probably be so angry that they would spit blood. Chapter 22 Is your school blind? Yi Ran listened to La Enjing's praise and responded, Auntie, thank you for your praise, but you should meet La Wanyi once. After all, La Wanyi seems to be a different person after you left, and she doesn't smile much. Quote. Although Yi Ran is a time traveler, he still has previous memories, especially the memory of La Wanyi, which is relatively deep. After all, the two are childhood sweethearts and grew up together. If he could easily untie La Wanyi's knot, Yi Ran wouldn't mind lending a hand. Listening to what Yi Ran said, La Enjing suddenly felt a sudden realization. She put out her cigarette with excitement on her face. Oh, so this is your kid's goal. I thought you two were already in trouble because of those things. You should have told me earlier. No, Aunt. Yi Ran felt something was wrong. Aunt Enjing's love brain seemed to have reached the IQ high point. La Enjing interrupted Yi Ran. Okay, stop talking. This matter is your aunt's fault. I hate it the most in my life when others break up the couple. As long as you two still have feelings for each other, your aunt, even if I burn down the Lahia ancestral courtyard, I'll get it right for you. Rather than watching the La family suffer, La Enjing naturally hopes that her little niece can find a good husband. Since Yi Ran still has feelings, there is no reason for him not to help La Wanyi tie him down. No. Before Yi Ran could finish speaking, he was pushed out of the door by a force. Let La Wanyi come in, and the others will continue waiting outside. The words from inside the door came out. La Wanyi also looked at Yi Ran in confusion. How could Chaofan inside know her name? And he asked me to come in by name. Yi Ran looked at La Wanyi, smiled bitterly and said, It's not dangerous, go in, but don't listen to her nonsense. Yi Ran's words made La Wanyi, who was already confused, even more confused. But he walked into the room anyway. Bang! As La Wanyi entered, the door was closed again. Not only that, gray smoke began to fill around the door, cutting off all consciousness and sound. As if afraid that anyone would hear the slightest bit of information. Yi Ran looked at the closed door of the room and was speechless. Is this the charm of the free tavern? I hope Zhang Xiaoru will not be affected like this in the future. Inside the room, La Wanyi stood at the door of the room, looking around warily. Come in, what's the danger? A careless sentence broke the silence in the room. Only then did La Wanyi see the stunning big wave lying on the sofa. When she saw the appearance, La Wanyi was stunned and blurted out. Aunt. La Enjing looked at La Wanyi with a smile on her face. What? You don't recognize me, or do you think I'm dead? Then, La Enjing stood up and walked forward. He looked at La Wanyi admiringly. That's right. She's already reached the platinum level. She's as pretty as your aunt and me. At this time, La Wanyi finally reacted from the shock. Aunt? Really, Aunt? La Wanyi was extremely pleasantly surprised, and her cold face softened a lot at this time. She hugged Le Enjing directly. Auntie, I miss you so much. From small to large. Because Le Wanyi's parents died prematurely. On weekdays, only my grandfather, Aunt and Yi Ran are kind to me. It can be said that these people took up most of the happy time when they were growing up. Now my grandfather is busy running the Le family and neglects to care about himself. My aunt left the Le family for some reason. And Yi Ran gradually became alienated from himself because of the stagnation in his practice. It can be said that in the days without them, over the years, Le Wanyi's life in Lahia has been extremely bleak. After practicing almost every day and night, he was busy mediating the power struggle within the family. That is to say, from these days, Le Wanyi gradually got used to being alone, getting used to putting away her smile. Treat everyone with a cold face. It's no wonder that after meeting Le Enjing, Le Wanyi immediately lost her previous reserve. He plunged into Le Enjing's arms. Le Enjing touched Le Wanyi's head with a pleased expression and said angrily. He is a platinum-level expert, but he is still like a little girl, cuddling in someone's arms and not afraid of being laughed at. I'll just snuggle. Saying that, Le Wanyi hugged her aunt's arm harder. It was as if he was afraid that his aunt would leave him in the next second. Okay, silly kid, if you push harder, your aunt's waist will almost break. Le Enjing pushed Le Wanyi in disgust, but Le Wanyi acted like a spoiled brat and refused to give in. The inside was arched a little more, making Le Enjing very helpless. I asked you, can you learn from that boy from the Yi family and be a little more mature and stable? Le Enjing said. Hearing this, Le Wanyi was a little stunned. She looked up at Le Enjing. Yi family, which one are you talking about? It's just the boy standing at the door, what else can I say? Him. Le Wanyi said this in a long, drawn-out voice, as if it was not enough to express her surprise. Le Enjing asked. What's the problem? I haven't seen Yi Ran for a few years. He has really matured a lot. He is steady, generous, has a good pattern, and is good at teaching apprentices. But his strength is a little behind. But in time, this boy will definitely be the backbone of the Yi family. Listening to Le Enjing's evaluation of Yi Ran, Le Wanyi was naturally happy. But when she turned around and thought about it, she was stunned. Except for the word, strength is behind. It seems that any other adjectives have nothing to do with her impression of Yi Ran. Looking at the confused Le Wanyi, Le Enjing frowned slightly. She naturally didn't know Yi Ran's status in school before. She thought Le Wanyi was a little disgusted with her praising Yi Ran. Le Enjing thought slightly. Looking at this posture, it's not that Yi Ran has a problem, but that our little princess has other ideas. But Yi Ran is such an excellent child, it doesn't make sense. This won't do. Such a good seedling must be planted in our own field. At this moment, the matchmaker spirit in Le Enjing's heart began to burn fiercely. No matter what, I must tie this pair of mandarin ducks together today. Wanyi, what's your reaction? After listening to Le Enjing's question, Le Wanyi finally reacted and said to Le Enjing. Aunt, do you have any misunderstandings? Yi Ran is not as good as you said. Do you think Aunt is lying to you? After listening to Le Enjing's words, Le Wanyi waved her hand. What are you talking about, Aunt? But I am now the first-year teaching director of Magic City High Martial Arts College, and Yi Ran is the first-year class tutor. How can I not understand his situation? Tell your aunt about his situation. After listening to Le Enjing's question, Le Wanyi said. The last tutor in the first year has now been downgraded to the amateur level. If there is no effect at the end of this semester, he may be dismissed. Hearing this, Le Enjing was stunned. She looked at Le Wanyi in disbelief. This can also be dismissed. Is your school blind? Chapter 23 Le Wanyi's shock. Le Enjing's words made Le Wanyi even more confused. Le Enjing looked at Le Wanyi, who was silent and couldn't help but mocked. It seems that your old man with a white beard is only at this level. Such a mentor is on the verge of being expelled. Tisk, 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 bleary-eyed old guy, why not just die and let me be the one? I don't know if it's the influence of staying in the Liberty Tavern for a long time or the fact that I'm freed from the shackles of aristocratic families. Le Enjing's main theme now is that she speaks as she pleases, and what stands out is her arrogance. Listening to Le Enjing's words, Le Wanyi couldn't help but cover her mouth. Auntie, please keep your voice down, Principal Bai can sense it. As the top world-destroying transcendent, Bai Shu is basically no longer in the same category as humans. There are rumors that Bai Shu can secretly sense the words people talk about him. Le Enjing slapped Le Wanyi's hand away and said angrily, "What are you afraid of? I'll tell you the truth, your aunt. Even in front of old man Bai, I dare to say that." Le Wanyi looked at the lawless Le Enjing with a sad face. "Auntie, what drug did Yi Ran give you to make you praise him so much? Hey, little girl, you still don't believe what your aunt says." Le Enjing saw that Le Wanyi still didn't believe it, so she waved directly behind her. "Xiaoru, come here for a moment." Afterwards, Zhang Xiaoru walked out of the inner room. At this time, she no longer looked timid as before. Instead, she looked at Le Wanyi with a smile. There was a pair of cute dimples on her round face, which complemented her two tiger teeth. The cuteness of Loli is vividly reflected in Zhang Xiaoru. "Hello, Director Le, let me introduce myself again. I am Zhang Xiaoru, a student of Teacher Yi in Class 1 and 2 of the freshman year." When I saw Zhang Xiaoru coming out, Le Wanyi's eyes never left Zhang Xiaoru's body, and she even rubbed her eyes unconsciously. Calm, confident, calm, generous. Is this the same Zhang Xiaoru that I saw just now? How on earth can a person's temperament undergo such an earth-shaking change in less than half an hour? It's like a different person, right? Le Enjing seemed to be able to see through Le Wanyi's heart and directly said Le Wanyi's words. "This is just an appearance. You should be more confident and take a look." Following Le Enjing's guidance, Le Wanyi began to concentrate on her luck and observed Zhang Xiaoru carefully. You don't know this, but the sight of it made Le Wanyi's breath confused and she almost staggered out of the way. He blurted out directly. This is impossible. Promoted from brass to gold." At this time, Le Enjing was very proud. Don't ask me specifically how she changed. I can only say that all of this is the new life Yi Ran gave her. Le Wanyi looked at Le Enjing in disbelief. The expression on his face seems to say, "Are you kidding me? Director Le, it's true. The purpose of Teacher Yi bringing me to the nightclub is to improve my strength and let me find my own path of practice." Seeing that Le Wanyi didn't believe it, Zhang Xiaoru came forward to speak out, confirming Le Enjing's words. Listening to Zhang Xiaoru's speech, Le Wanyi suddenly recalled the time when she questioned Yi Ran. Yi Ran's answer to himself. For a moment, there was a hint of bitterness at the corner of her mouth. I really blamed Yi Ran wrongly. Yi Ran didn't lie to himself. He brought students to the nightclub really to improve his strength. Thinking of what she said to Wang Xiaoman about cutting the leaves and roots, before, Le Wanyi wanted to find a crack in the ground and crawl into it. How about it? It takes half an hour to promote students from brass to gold. With such a method, you still say that your white old man is not dim-sighted. Le Enjing was elated. As long as Yi Ran's image is established in Le Wanyi's heart, it will be a matter of course for her to become a matchmaker. That's what I said, but it's a bit too exaggerated. Le Wanyi responded. She still can't believe how this was done. Le Enjing was still suspicious when she saw Le Wanyi. Somewhat impatiently, he told Le Wanyi the whole story. After Le Wanyi listened carefully, her shock could not subside for a long time. So, Yi Ran not only knows all the information about the free tavern, but he can also see at a glance that Zhang Xiaoru is a perfect successor to the Dark Knight Priest inheritance. Not only that, he also discovered your hidden identity from the beginning. Incredible. What Le Enjing told herself broke through her inherent knowledge. If everything is true, that means Yi Ran relies on his own strength. Pulling a student who was about to be eliminated from the school into the ranks of geniuses. They are still the kind of top geniuses who are certain to advance to the extraordinary level. With such achievements, not to mention the star mentor, it is the principal of Gaowu Academy, Venerable Void. Bai Shu has never had such achievements in guidance in his entire life. But this kind of teacher, according to the school system, he is about to be eliminated. For a moment, the corner of Le Wanyi's mouth turned bitter. No wonder my aunt said the school was blind. If this were made public, the pressure from public opinion would probably overwhelm the entire university. How is it? Are you excited? Your little baby is not as bad as you thought. Watching Le Wanyi come out of the shock, Le Enjing struck while the iron was hot and continued her great career as a matchmaker. Le Wanyi blushed when she heard this. Auntie, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? You are already at the age of starting a family. The boy is unmarried and the girl is unmarried. You two still have babies to kiss. How are you going to give up on such a good young talent like this? I remember you didn't like Yi Ran very much before. Listening to Le Enjing's words, Le Wanyi's heart also felt ripples. Yes, It might be possible to achieve such a result if I mentioned it to my grandfather again. For a moment, Le Enjing's face also looked happy. But in an instant, Le Wanyi's excited emotions were suppressed by reason. Aunt, let's forget it. Grandpa probably won't agree to it. After hearing this, Le Enjing's face became a little gloomy. After all, she had suffered a loss in this before. Why does that old guy? I'm going to find him. The old man from the Le family has not yet settled the accounts for ruining her marriage. Now I have to give my little niece a hard time. Le Enjing was so angry that gray fog began to fill her body, and she looked like she would do it tonight. Le Wanyi hurriedly took Le Enjing's hand. Aunt, it's not what you think. Grandpa, he also has his own reasons. Le Enjing's face was cold. I hope this explanation will convince me, otherwise I will demolish the Le family's ancestral home. Chapter 24. Who told you that Yi Ran is still at the silver level? Seeing Le Enjing caring about her so much, Le Wanyi felt warm in her heart. She hadn't felt this kind of family warmth for a long time. Aunt, do you still remember the reason why Yi Ran was decadent? Le Wanyi recalled. Yi Ran was very talented at that time, but for some reason he chose not to tell all the adults that he was trying to reach the gold level. You also know the final result. The attempt to reach the gold level failed. After that, Yi Ran, who did not believe in evil, tried many times, but all failed. He directly solidified his gold gate into a natural gate that could not be opened by external forces. Speaking of this, Le Wanyi couldn't help but sigh. If it weren't for this incident, then she should have married Yi Ran now. I know about this. Yi Ran was very talented at that time and was too confident, which led to that result. Le Enjing continued. But Le Wanyi shook her head. No, aunt, things are not as simple as imagined. Then, Le Wanyi continued to recall. Since Yi Ran was decadent at home, Grandpa once talked to me seriously about this matter alone. Grandpa told me at that time that when the first attempt to reach the gold failed, Grandpa had carefully looked at Yi Ran's injury. In order to cure Yi Ran's illness, Grandpa used our Le family's innate skills, the Qingxin Shengju. Quote. You also know that our Le family's skills are good at the soul, especially the Qingxin Shengju, which can sweep away all the impurities on the soul wherever it passes. Grandpa originally thought that this was a trivial matter, but when he used the Qingxin Shengju to treat the root of the disease, he found that Yi Ran's injury was not caused by the failure of the attack. Le Wanyi's face sank slightly, repeating what her grandfather said to her at that time. Grandpa only said 8 words to me at that time. The two prides joined forces, the python swallowed the dragon. Hearing Le Wanyi's words, Le Enjing also calmed down, and the violent breath restrained himself. You mean to say that the reason why Yi Ran failed to attack many times was not his own negligence, but someone deliberately framed him? Le Enjing sorted out his thoughts based on Le Wanyi's words. The python swallowed the dragon naturally represents the Yi family's black dragon, and this python and the bird. Le Enjing stopped talking. Which 2 skills in the world are related to this python and the bird? It's too obvious. Le Wanyi smiled bitterly and said, I believe you have guessed it, aunt, it's those 2 families, but I don't know the reason. But since Grandpa found out about this, he warned me not to have too much contact with the Yi family. After all, the Yi family can afford to provoke these 2 families, but our Le family. At this point, Le Wanyi looked a little depressed. The biggest problem of the Le family is the lack of successors. Until now, the head of the family is still supported by Le Wanyi's grandfather. The mainstay of the second generation, Le Wanyi's father, died early. The rest of Le Wanyi's uncles not only made no achievements in cultivation, but also devoted their minds to fighting for power. The backbone of the family is very discordant. Such a shaky family wants to participate in the life and death struggle between families, which is tantamount to a catastrophe. Le Enjing pondered for a moment and said nothing. I didn't expect that behind Yi Ran's failure in the gold impact, there was actually a struggle between 3 top families. No, Le Enjing suddenly said, since things have developed to this point, according to the old man's idea, you should be confined to the Le family house now. How could you come out with such fanfare and serve as a freshman tutor at the Magic City High Martial Arts College? Le Enjing is too familiar with her father. This is how the old man handled her affairs before. Le Wanyi listened to Le Enjing's confusion and smiled bitterly. The reason why I came out was not Grandpa's intention, but the intention of those uncles. They unanimously agreed at the family clan meeting that I was talented and mature, and it was time to go out and gain experience. Finally, Grandpa couldn't stand the pressure and asked where I wanted to go, so I chose the Magic City High Martial Arts College. Hearing this, Le Enjing's face darkened. Le Wanyi's lineage belongs to the direct line of the Le family, and Le Wanyi's father is also the heir appointed by the old man. Now the direct line of the Le family was driven out of the family meeting. The intentions of these collateral branches are obvious. Thinking of this, Le Enjing's eyes narrowed slightly, and her tone was unfriendly, as the old man's control over the family so bad now. Le Wanyi nodded. Grandpa is old, and every time he uses his strength, he may lose his life. In order to protect the family, he has rarely used his strength, and even handed over many family affairs to those uncles to take care of. Damn it, Le Enjing cursed, and the gray mist around him began to rise again, and his momentum began to rise continuously. Big brother is gone, and these rotten fish and shrimp jumped out. Le Enjing looked at Le Wanyi with a little murderous intent. Next time you go back to the Le family, let me know, I will go with you. If the old man can't take care of it, someone will take care of it. Le Enjing's words revealed a strong murderous aura. Although she usually doesn't bother to care about the affairs of the Le family. But she has watched her eldest brother's precious daughter grow up, and bullying Le Wanyi is equivalent to bullying her. It doesn't matter if you don't know. Now that she knew, how could she, who had stayed in the free tavern for so long, stand such a humiliation? By the way, why didn't you choose anywhere else in the end, but chose the Magic City High Martial Arts College? Le Enjing asked. Le Wanyi did not answer, but just lowered her head slightly. After Le Enjing saw this, she clapped her hands happily. Okay, since you are in love, I am interested, Le Enjing said domineeringly. Next time you go home, call Yi Ran along, I will help you finalize the marriage. Don't worry, with me here, the Le family will never think of breaking up a pair of Mandarin ducks. But, Grandpa said that the fight between the three families is not something our Le family can withstand. Le Wanyi still had some concerns. Le Enjing shook her head. Let's not talk about your feelings, but just talking about Yi Ran's potential, let alone the fight between the three families, even if it is under the pressure of the Three Kingdoms War, it is worth fighting for. Le Wanyi was a little surprised to hear Le Enjing's high evaluation of Yi Ran. But, Yi Ran may only be a silver rank in this life. She liked Yi Ran and could ignore the difference in strength and think that Yi Ran was the best man in the world. But she still had self-knowledge. After all, Yi Ran is only a silver rank. How could his value be as exaggerated as my aunt said? Who told you that Yi Ran is still a silver rank now? Le Enjing's words shocked Le Wanyi again. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 25. A girl's love is always there. No matter what the reason is, Yi Ran's hope of advancing to the gold level is slim, which is obvious to all. Even the Yi family did not help Yi Ran succeed with the efforts of the whole family. And now her aunt said that Yi Ran is no longer a silver level. This more or less makes Le Wanyi feel a little unreal. Looking at the stunned expression of her little niece, Le Enjing said. That's right, at that time even I didn't think that Yi Ran could succeed, but just now Yi Ran did successfully break through his gold level under my nose and advance to gold. Recalling Yi Ran's calm expression after the success, Le Enjing continued. That stinky boy not only succeeded in the breakthrough, but because he stayed in the silver level for many years, as soon as he succeeded in the breakthrough, his aura was so strong that it was not much less than that of people in the late gold level. Hearing the news that Yi Ran succeeded in the breakthrough, Le Wanyi was happy at first, and her eyes brightened a lot. She looked so happy, maybe she wasn't so excited when she succeeded. But aunt, even if Yi Ran succeeded in reaching the gold level, it's not worth your high regard for him. Le Wanyi continued to ask Le Enjing, her eyes full of expectation. It was as if she was not questioning Yi Ran at all, but wanted to hear more praises from Le Enjing. It felt like a wife likes to hear from others how good her husband is. Looking at Le Wanyi's expectant face, Le Enjing tapped Le Wanyi's head unhappily. Be reserved, you haven't married yet. Le Wanyi touched her forehead a little embarrassedly. Aunt, just tell me. Le Enjing heard Le Wanyi's plea and recalled the shocks Yi Ran brought to her. Why did she think so highly of Yi Ran? Was it because he trained Zhang Xiaoru, who perfectly inherited the Dark Knight Priest? Or was it because he single-handedly reached the gold level that many extraordinary people believed was impossible to break through? These may be reasons, but they are not comprehensive. The reason why I really believe that Yi Ran is not an ordinary person is mainly because of the quality behind Yi Ran. Whether it is his responsibility to Zhang Xiaoru, his calmness after reaching the golden level, or his attitude when communicating with me. Every line and every sentence of Yi Ran makes Le Enjing feel that she is facing a supernatural person of the same level. As a supernatural person who is proficient in the soul, Le Enjing is more confident than anyone that her intuition will not be wrong. Le Enjing's eyes flickered, and she said to Luanyi, I can't tell you the specific reason, but I believe in your aunt's vision. Yi Ran will sooner or later grow up to be a person who is on par with me, or even surpass me. Hearing Enjing's assertion, Luanyi's heart was slightly trembling. She didn't expect that her aunt, as a supernatural person, would have such a high evaluation of Yi Ran. But turning around and thinking about it, the person praised by her aunt was Yi Ran. Luanyi couldn't help but raise the corners of her mouth. Seeing Luanyi's expression, Le Enjing shook her head helplessly. Girls cannot be kept at home. They are already leaning on others before they even get married. Aunt, what are you talking about? Luanyi acted like a spoiled child to Le Enjing. Le Enjing angrily glared at Luanyi. Why aren't you worried that your grandfather won't let you? Luanyi smiled. Isn't it because you are the one who is holding me up? The aunt and niece were talking happily inside the door, but Yi Ran outside the door was a little overwhelmed. Ever since Yi Ran told Zhang Zi that Zhang Xiaoru perfectly inherited the legacy of the Dark Knight Priest, Zhang Zi's smile on his face has never faded. He directly pulled Yi Ran and Wang Xiaoman into the private room, called his younger brother, and brought in all kinds of expensive drinks. He said on the spot that he wanted to get drunk with Yi Ran. But who knew that Zhang Zi, a bald man with 5 big and 3 big bodies, would be so drunk after 1 glass. After just 2 drinks, he hugged Yi Ran and burst into tears. Brother Yi Ran, I've had a hard time in recent years. Longguo doesn't give us legal status, but wants our tavern to do some dirty work. It's best to pack up all the scum in Longguo and take them away. Longguo only gives us some bastards. We can't get any talent. I admit that the standard for recruiting people in our free tavern is to be free and unrestrained, but we don't accept all scum. What do they think of us? They use us as trash cans. Not only Longguo bullies us, and even the headquarters bullies us. They ask your brother for help every day. Where can I find people for him? They also set up KPIs for each branch. If they don't do a good job, they will revoke their identities as the person in charge. Quote. I practiced cultivation to do whatever I want and not be a cow or a horse. As a result, I ran to this branch to be a broken person in charge, doing the work of a cow or a horse every day and suffering from the pain of a cow or a horse. If it weren't for you, my good brother, giving me such a big gift this year, I really couldn't do it. Zhang Zi hugged Yi Ran and cried bitterly. His expression was excited. Yi Ran, who was hugged by this big man, was about to break. He looked at Wang Xiaoman beside him with a look of help. But Wang Xiaoman seemed to not see it at all. She lowered her head and showed off the watermelon crazily. The main point is that we share the good and you share the bad. Seeing Zhang Zi almost wiping his nose on his arm and sleeve, Yi Ran reluctantly took out a tissue and comforted. Boss Zhang, it's time to give birth, call me brother. Brother Zhang, there is no need to put so much pressure on yourself. Isn't the Lord of Grey Fog in charge of our Dragon Kingdom branch? Sister, it's okay if you don't tell me, but if you tell me, I'll be even more angry. Sister doesn't care about anything on weekdays, she only knows how to practice, and she has a terrible temper. If she doesn't go well, she will take out her anger on me. Speaking of the Lord of Grey Mist, Le Enjing, Zhang Ziyu started to complain endlessly, as if he had opened another chat box. Without even noticing, the door to the private room was quietly opened. After seeing the person coming, Yi Ran directly interrupted Zhang Zi. The Lord of Grey Mist is wise and powerful. This must be to train you. Don't you feel that your ability to resist has improved a lot? Zhang Zi was completely unaware of Yi Ran's crazy look at him, and said to himself, You can pull me down, my dear brother, do you really not know how bad my eldest sister's temper is? One time, he was so angry because of my left he walked in with his feet first and beat me up. What do you think this is? Zhang Zi still has something to say and is ready to say something. As a result, the murderous aura suddenly seeping out from behind frightened him. Zhang Zi's hair suddenly stood up. Chapter 26 My students, they can create miracles. Zhang Zi turned his head tremblingly and looked out the door. When he saw the appearance of the 2 people outside the door, his heart was lifted. However, Zhang Zi also reacted very quickly. He hurriedly picked up the wine glass on the table and walked towards Le Enjing with a smile on his face. Sister, when did you come here? Look, you didn't even notify me in advance. You didn't prepare anything for you. Le Enjing looked at Zhang Zi playfully and took the wine glass. When did you come in? Of course, you came in when Mr. Zhang objectively evaluated me. After hearing these words, Zhang Zi's heart sank completely, and his facial features were almost wrinkled. Sister, those are all nonsense I talked about while drinking. Don't take it seriously. Zhang Zi hurriedly explained, but Le Enjing waved his hand. How can it be nonsense? I think what Mr. Zhang said is very reasonable, so I decided that from today on, Mr. Zhang will be fully responsible for our branch. After hearing this, Mr. Zhang's face almost overflowed with sadness. Sister, stop making trouble, I really can't do without you. The Longguo branch has not received legal status, and its operation has been extremely difficult. Now if Le Enjing gives up his career, and there is no extraordinary person in charge, Zhang Zi really feels that he will go bankrupt sooner or later. I'm not kidding you. From today on, I will take Zhang Xiaoru to practice. From now on, you can solve the matters that Longguo will be in charge of. If you can't, don't come to me. Le Enjing waved his hand. Eldest sister is really going to collapse. Zhang Zi said to Le Enjing with a sad face and an almost pleading tone. Then let it collapse. Le Enjing said nonchalantly, as if he was talking about a very small thing and didn't care. Zhang Zi couldn't speak for a long time after listening to Le Enjing's words. The people in the Liberty Tavern are free and easy by nature, but if they don't even want their base camp, this would be too free and easy. Le Enjing looked at Zhang Zi, who was in a daze, and continued impatiently, okay, I won't talk nonsense to you, that's it. But, if those two are blamed, let them blame it. The worst they can do is send you back for business. Listening to Le Enjing's words, Zhang Zi wanted to cry. Okay, I won't play with you anymore. I've already told those two old men that cultivating Zhang Xiaoru is more important than anything else right now. As for the branch library, you can build it however you want. Later, Le Enjing took Le Wanyi's hand and walked towards Yi Ran, and generously put her hand in Yi Ran's hand. Then he pulled Zhang Xiaoru behind him without any explanation. It's just right to swap one person for the other. Okay, I'm going to take Zhang Xiaoru to practice. You guys go wherever you need to go. With that said, Le Enjing pulled Zhang Xiaoru and Zhang Zi out of the private room with a, you know what, look. Yi Ran and Le Wanyi were left in the room, and Wang Xiaoman was eating melon crazily. Three of you, look at me, I look at you. After a moment of silence, Wang Xiaoman covered his stomach very wisely. Is there something wrong with this melon? Why does it hurt so much? Ouch, she said, holding her stomach and leaving the room quickly. At this moment, the three people turned into two people, and the atmosphere began to become strange. Yi Ran looked at this magical collective disappearance technique with a speechless expression. What is this and what? Yi Ran, Le Wanyi suddenly said. Yi Ran was about to leave too when he was suddenly stopped by Le Wanyi. Yi Ran Zunsheng turned his head. What's the matter, Director Le? At this moment, Le Wanyi, who had always been aloof, became a little shy. I'm sorry, I said that about you in your class before. Yi Ran heard Le Wanyi's apology and waved his hand indifferently. It's normal. As a dean, you should focus on the quality of learning and not care about anything. On the contrary, it is harming the students. I'm not saying that, I'm saying that my attitude towards you is not that good. Le Wanyi continued. Hey, what do I think this is? How long has it been? Do you still remember? Yi Ran simply sat down and ate the fruit plate on the table. This melon isn't bad. Director Le, give me some. Does this atmosphere make you come here to eat melon? Le Wanyi looked at Yi Ran and frowned slightly, feeling a little angry that Yi Ran didn't understand the style. Seeing that Le Wanyi was unmoved, Yi Ran thought that Le Wanyi was still struggling, so he said. Director Le, if you really feel sorry for me, just give me a higher score in the instructor's evaluation during the final assessment. Yi Ran hasn't forgotten the system's mission. After all, I have to get first place in the whole grade. Although the instructor's comments do not account for a large part and their role is minimal. But if you can dig it out, it's worth it. Hearing Yi Ran discussing work, Le Wanyi became serious and became much more capable. It's natural. I would do it if you didn't tell me. After this night's experience, Le Wanyi's understanding of Yi Ran has undergone earth-shaking changes. Judging from Yue Ran's performance, he definitely deserves the title of an excellent mentor. That's good. Yue Ran nodded with satisfaction. When it came to work, Luanyi was no longer as coy as before and began to analyze seriously. Yue Ran, whether in terms of teaching ability or responsible attitude towards students, you are indeed a rare good teacher, so I will explain the elimination of the final examination to the principal in detail and try to get you to not participate in this final examination. No, 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 how can this be done? Hearing Luanyi's words, Yue Ran hurriedly interrupted her. What a joke, you still expect to complete the system's tasks. If you are not allowed to participate in the examination, how can you get the first place? Hearing Yue Ran's refusal, Luanyi was a little confused. Don't you cherish this position very much? Luanyi paused for a moment and continued. Yue Ran, don't lose face. If you want to stay in school this time, this is the only way to go. With your class's grades, if you want to avoid being expelled at the end of the semester, you must at least get a good ranking in the top 3. After all, you have fallen behind too much in the past. With the foundation of your class students, the possibility of getting the top 3 is very small. Luanyi really wanted to help Yue Ran, but Yue Ran waved his hand. I appreciate your kindness, but don't let our class not participate in this assessment. Luanyi heard Yue Ran say this. He became anxious and angry. Why? Do you still want to continue to be a slacker? Yue Ran looked at Luanyi. Who wants to be a slacker? This time, our class's year-end assessment will definitely be a comeback. Listening to Yue Ran's words, Luanyi's expression was a little complicated. But Yue Ran, you also know that our final assessment is not just about individual battles. Even if Zhang Xiaoru got the first place in the individual battle, how can the other students in your class cope with other projects with their level? Luanyi thought that Yue Ran wanted to rely on Zhang Xiaoru to make a splash. But although the individual battle is guaranteed, what about other projects? Zhang Xiaoru is a special case after all. Only one such example can come out among tens of millions of students. You can't expect to find a few more Zhang Xiaoru in the class. Faced with doubts, Yue Ran raised his head and said in a very firm tone. My students, they can create miracles. Chapter 27. Oh no, Dakin was beaten. Fool. Luanyi looked at Yue Ran who was about to take the assessment. He puffed up his face angrily, sat aside and ignored him. Just like that, the room fell into awkward silence again. And in the room next to it, Le Enjing looked at the video on the surveillance camera and was so anxious. I've gone to great lengths to create some alone time for you two, and you're showing me this. Open your mouth for work and shut up for assessment. Is this a place for you two to have a meeting? Elm Wood, Elm Head. Le En scolded angrily, looking so cool, I haven't even learned half of my style. Le Enjing became angrier and angrier as she talked, not even paying attention to restraining her extraordinary momentum. The powerful momentum forced Zhang Zi and Wang Xiaoman to retreat to the corner. Especially Wang Xiaoman, because the difference in strength is too big, he is trembling now. Zhang Zi felt a little embarrassed and helped Wang Xiaoman block the pressure, with bitterness at the corner of his mouth. There is probably only one extraordinary being in the world who can jump on the bandwagon just because someone else is in love. To be honest, it's so embarrassing. Zhang Zi, come here, don't hide there without making a sound. Le Enjing suddenly called Zhang Zi. Am I willing to hide? Zhang Zi felt aggrieved and complained in his heart, but only in his heart. He forced himself to smile. Sister, what did you call me for? Take out those things from the nightclub. Le Enjing looked at the screen and said angrily. Sister, what are you talking about? Zhang Zi felt slightly uncomfortable. What else can you do? How can you pretend to be pure for me with all your stupidity? Hearing Le Enjing's words, Zhang Zaran burst into tears. Sister, it's bad, this is your niece. At this moment, Zhang Zi also learned about the relationship between Luanyi and Le Enjing. But knowing this relationship made me even more shocked. What's the matter? The man is affectionate and the concubine is interested. What's wrong with the window paper on the other side? I can help you poke it out. What the hell are these words of tiger and wolf? Wang Xiaoman also looked at Le Enjing in horror, then turned to look at Zhang Zi. The silent expression seemed to be asking Zhang Zi, is this really Aunt Luanyi, is she a relative? Being stared at by Wang Xiaoman, Zhang Zi's already lowered head was completely broken. Shameful, so shameful. It is shameful for an extraordinary person to worry about the love affairs of young people. Now I am still thinking about using some strange means to do software hardening project. After all, Liberty Tavern is one of the top powers. Now he's acting like a sneaky gangster. Originally, the Dragon Kingdom had some prejudice against the Free Tavern. Now it's okay, the person in charge takes the lead and treats it like rubbish, directly confirming the prejudice. Sister, you really can't do this. Zhang Zi bit the bullet and refused Le Enjing. I told you, Mr. Zhang, are you really out of breath? Take it quickly. Sister, I can't do it. It's really not something you can do for young people to fall in love. If you do this, you will mess it up. Speaking so categorically, does it sound like you understand? Sister, I really understand, you really can't do this. Well, you are responsible for matching these two elm trees for me. I'll do it, I'll do it. Zhang Zi insisted on Le Enjing. At this moment, he felt that he was the last spine to maintain the dignity of the Liberty Tavern. The word justice is written all over his face. I will protect the dignity of the Liberty Tavern. We must not let Le Enjing's poisonous claws reach the head of the innocent young man. As soon as she finished speaking, Le Enjing turned her head to look at Zhang Zi, who had a righteous look on his face. Suddenly a bright smile bloomed on his face. Then it settled. After saying that, Le Enjing was no longer irritable, and his aura became calmer. His whole person looked like he had been peaceful for a long time. Compared with his violent appearance just now, he was completely different. Zhang Zi, his huge head is full of big question marks, and his big confused eyes reveal clear stupidity. What happened? What happened? Why has this become my job? Weren't you the one who just shouted for the Overlord to use his bow? Why did it suddenly stop making trouble? I am loyal to the organization. Sister, how about you play the art of war with me? Sister, I don't care, I only care about the results. After saying that, Le Enjing turned into a cloud of gray mist and took Zhang Xiaoru out of the room. The disciples left Zhang Zi and Wang Xiaoman staring at each other. You are Le Wanyi's direct disciple, right? Wang Xiaoman nodded. From today on, you are responsible for telling me the information about the two of them in a timely manner, can you do it? Yes, I can, but can I? Don't tell her. Zhang Zi directly blocked what Wang Xiaoman wanted to say. Wang Xiaoman looked at Zhang Zi, who was 3 heads taller than him, and did not dare to refuse. He could only stumble and say, okay. Zhang Zi is a diamond-level master after all. Le Enjing dared to criticize Zhang Zi like that, but she didn't dare. Zhang Zi grinned. Don't look like this, you are also doing it for your master's lifelong event. Wang Xiaoman nodded aggrievedly along with Zhang Zi. The matter at the Free Tavern has come to an end. Yi Ran's school life returned to normal again. But from this day on, the only difference was that Zhang Xiaoru took a leave of absence. And Le Wanyi's attitude towards him was even colder than before. Especially on the night when they left the nightclub. Yi Ran was drunk and didn't want to go back to school, so Zhang Zi asked someone to send Yi Ran back to school. Isn't it just to take the test? Why was he so angry? On the podium, Yi Ran thought about Le Wanyi's performance, his face was speechless. She said sorry 1 second ago, and treated you as air the next second. Women's hearts are like needles in the sea. Why is teacher Yi absent-minded recently? Yes, I always stare blankly in class. Is it possible that teacher Yi's enthusiasm is over after 3 minutes, and he is ready to give up again? Who knows, but my strength has indeed improved visibly during this period of special training. You're right, I have already entered the late silver stage from the middle silver stage, just because teacher Yi reorganized the energy circulation path for me. Indeed, since teacher Yi helped me open up my mind. After I advanced from black tiger heart digging to monkey stealing peach hand, I won many 1v1 trainings. Especially girls, they would admit defeat directly when they met me. Quote. You don't have to say this. To be honest, I really don't want teacher Yi to change back. Yes, I'm addicted to cultivation. Teacher Yi suddenly becomes a salted fish. What should we do? Save the child, I want to study. Quote. The classmates in the class were talking about it. Since Yi Ran criticized the students on the podium with Zhang Xiaoru. It seems that the class atmosphere of the entire first grade second class is changing quietly. Bang. At this moment, the door of the class was suddenly knocked open. Teacher Yi, it's bad. Dakin was beaten in the cafeteria. Quote. Chapter 28 Huang Dongdong heroically saves Dakin. The student who came to report the news was named Li Anran. He was relatively lean. Since what is awakened is also the ability related to the physical lightness bonus. Everyone calls him Monkey. At this time, he was panting and had some bruises on his face. He was holding on to the door frame and grinning, obviously hurt. Yi Ran stepped forward, supported Li Anran, and led him to sit on the chair. The student clutched his ribs in pain. The students nearby had already gathered around. Monkey, what's going on in Dakin? Isn't Dakin always a good guy? How could he fight? Yeah, Da Chun usually doesn't retaliate when scolded or hit, so how can he fight? Oh my god, Dakin has been fighting with someone, how extreme can the other party be? Monkey, stop being so pretentious and tell me quickly. The classmates in the class talked to each other. Li Anran was also a little anxious. He opened his mouth but no words came out for a long time. Anran, don't worry, speak slowly. Yi Ran lowered his palms, stopped the students from speaking, and comforted Li Anran. Li Anran looked at Yi Ran with red eyes, and his emotions were calmed down by Yi Ran unconsciously. Teacher Yi, Dakin was eating in the cafeteria, and suddenly a group of students came over. They ran over and knocked over Dakin's plate without saying anything. Just like that, Dakin didn't say anything. He just picked up his own food, washed it and planned to continue eating. However, the group of people refused to let him go. He knocked over Dakin's plate again and even scolded Dakin. The scolding was extremely unpleasant. What did you curse? Yi Ran asked calmly. They scolded Dakin for eating raw meat and acting like a beast. Listening to Li Anran's words, the students were filled with indignation. What? Is there such a person to bully others? What a bunch of beasts. Let's go and take revenge on Dakin. Isn't this just a fight? Let's go. Wang Dakin is the monitor of the class. He is very popular in the class. When he is bullied, everyone naturally wants to help Dakin. Keep your voice down, can't you say it in private? The teacher is still here. Someone reminded the students. For a moment everyone looked at Yi Ran. After all, teachers in schools will not openly support fighting. In particular, Yi Ran is extremely stubborn. Who knows what his attitude will be? Maybe we have to make big things into small things, make small things into small things, and it will be over after being confused. All the students were waiting for Yi Ran to give a clear answer. Yi Ran glanced at his classmates and said without saying a word, lead the way. For a moment, the freshmen and second classes were all excited and walked toward the cafeteria. At this moment, although the students in the class were speechless, their eyes were filled with light. At this moment, Class 2 no longer seems like a piece of loose sand. At this moment, inside the school cafeteria, Wang Dakin gasped and looked at the 4 students in front of him. His brow bone has been injured, and he can no longer see people clearly. Who would have thought that there is such a genius hiding in this useless class? It almost overturned. Damn it, this beast is so powerful. You really can't win against him in a one-on-one fight. Nonsense. How can a beast that dares to eat raw meat not be very strong? Fortunately, I didn't break through gold, otherwise I would have been really unbearable today. 1 piece of silver can carry 4 of our golds for so long. What a fucking beast. Beasts are just beasts. There is blood foam even when breathing. You are so stupid. You were brainwashed by a beastly teacher and eat raw meat every day. The 4 students in front of them laughed at Wang Dakin unscrupulously and called Wang Dakin a beast. Who are you calling a beast? Wang Dakin was furious and raised his fist angrily, ready to hit a student. When the student saw this, his eyes tightened. Luck is all around you, and you will cope with it with all your strength. Although they mock, but Wang Dakin's hammer just now made them suffer a lot. Boom. After a dull sound, Wang Dakin was jumped out again. Standing in front of Wang Dakin was a young man with long hair. The young man looked at Wang Dakin with burning eyes. I said, I am also entrusted by others. I will stop at the point. Why do I still insist on it? Wang Dakin covered his chest and wiped the blood on his brow. Staggeringly stood up. Although I couldn't hold on any longer, I still said, apologize to me. I'm so big. Another student on the side became furious. He planned to fly towards Wang Dakin and kick him. As a result, before he could take off, he was stopped by the young man standing in front. Yinhai, that's enough. After listening to the young man's words, although there was a trace of dissatisfaction in the eyes of the student called Yinhai, he calmed down. Did you see that? Someone is going to let you go, get out. Yinhai spat at Wang Dakin disdainfully. Not only did Wang Dakin not appreciate it, he continued to say to the four people in front of him, apologize. Are you looking for death? Hearing what Wang Dakan said, Yin Hai became angry. He turned to the long-haired young man and said, Zhang Haoran, I'll give you face, don't stop me now. After saying that, Yin Hai turned around directly. The eyes turned into vertical eyes, the body began to be covered with scales, and a letter went back and forth in the mouth. The whole person's temperament became gloomy. B-level alienation ability, Ghost Viper. Hey, I haven't heard anyone scream for a long time. I still have some thoughts. Yin Hai said as he walked towards Wang Dakan. The two fangs at the corners of his mouth were shining faintly. When Wang Dakan saw this, he waved his fist and attacked. This blow was so powerful that the air was compressed with an explosion sound. But a shadow flashed across. Like a snake, Yin Hai avoided Wang Dakan's attack with a strange posture. Not only that, ding, 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 3 times. At the moment when he punched, Wang Dakan's arm was bitten by Yin Hai 3 times in a row. The speed was so fast. Wang Dakan didn't react at all. Tisk, this pigskin is really hard. Yin Hai rubbed his chin angrily. Unexpectedly, his sharp fangs did not penetrate into Wang Dakan's skin. He spat out the letter. His eyes were fixed on Wang Dakan's neck. I can't believe it, your pigskin can be thick all over your body. Yin Hai said coldly. Then, the figure disappeared directly. With a kai sound, a black shadow moved directly towards Wang Dakan. So fast, although Wang Dakan's eyes could barely catch the figure of Yin Hai. However, the injured body is already a little unable to cope with its needs. He could only watch helplessly as Yin Hai bit his neck. Boom! Just when the Yin Hai was about to bite Wang Dakan's neck, a ball of blazing fire appeared out of thin air, standing between Yin Hai and Wang Dakan. What troublesome bastard! Yin Hai cursed in his heart. However, the charging speed did not slow down, and he planned to break through the fireball forcefully. Boom! Who would have thought that the fireball would seem to be alive, and would continue to attack after seeing the Yin Si? It turned directly into a musket. It stabbed directly at Yin Hai's face. The temperature above the musket was so high. Before Yin Hai even got close, he felt a severe burning and stinging pain on his face. If I rush down hard, I might die. This thought flashed through Yin Hai's mind. He looked at Wang Dakan with a sinister look on his face and snorted coldly. One dodged and retreated. When the flames dissipated, a young boy with a naive face stood in front of Wang Dakan. With a heroic look on his face, he raised his musket and pointed it at the 4 Yin Hai people. If Huo Wen, the leader of the fire sect, was standing here, he would definitely recognize him. This is his precious apprentice, Huang Dongdong. Chapter 29. Zhang family, upright and righteous. You 4, don't bully others. Huang Dongdong looked heroic, raised his musket and angrily shouted at the 4 students in front of him. Then, he poked Wang Dakan behind him, stand behind me, I will protect you. Because Huang Dongdong is relatively young, the height is not fully developed yet, and the whole person looks a lot smaller than them. Especially Wang Dakan standing behind him, Huang Dongdong was so tall that he couldn't even reach Wang Dakan's shoulders. When I say this sentence, I feel a huge contrast no matter how I look at it. Classmate, stay away from this. Wang Dakan took a deep breath and said to Huang Dongdong. Even if he was seriously injured, he still didn't want others to be implicated. Huang Dongdong looked at Wang Dakan with some annoyance. I ask you why a big man like you is so ink-stained. If I tell you to stand back, just stand back. Stop talking nonsense. Although Huang Dongdong seemed well-behaved and smart in front of Huo Ying. But in fact, Huo Wen and I basically have the same temperament. They hate evil as much as they hate each other, and they are straightforward and fiery. It can only be said that one fart cannot produce 2 kinds of farts. Wang Dakan wanted to persuade Huang Dongdong, but he felt that his mouth was clamped by an inexplicable force, and he couldn't open it no matter how hard he opened it. Huang Dongdong looked at Wang Dakan with a proud look on his face. Stop struggling, you want me to be saved today, you can be saved even if you don't want me to be saved, I will save you anyway. Without the restraint of the master, Huang Dongdong has long wanted to be a hero who punishes evil and promotes good. The 4 people from Yinhai stood aside, looking gloomily at Huang Dongdong who suddenly appeared. No one took action for a while. Although they don't know Huang Dongdong's origins, they are not fools. At such a young age, he was able to defeat a master of Yinhai's level with one shot. Saying behind your back that you don't have a master, it's just nonsense. Even if it doesn't happen, it will definitely happen after this battle. Yin Hai narrowed his eyes slightly, looked at Wang Dakan, and said angrily, this is not the result the teacher wants. The 4 of them are from class 1 of the freshman year, which is the class of star tutor Han Kyun. After the nightclub incident, Han Kyun had already regarded Yi Ran as a thorn in his side. Thinking about revenge all the time. Not only himself, he even encouraged the talented students in his class to deliberately find trouble in Yi Ran's class. He also promised a few people that he could beat them to death. The worse the fight, the higher his private reward. So calling Wang Dakan a beast is just an excuse. Even if there is no such thing, they will find other faults to attack. Yin Hai looked at Wang Dakan, who was still breathing heavily, and said, I know that this guy has rough skin and thick flesh. Although he looks miserable, he has no fatal injuries. Needless to say, it's useless to talk to him. It won't be easy to deal with Han Kyun this time. Zhang Haoran, if you hadn't stopped us before, we would have gone back a long time ago. You have to be responsible for this matter. Yin Hai directly blamed the blame. After all, if Zhang Haoran hadn't stopped him just now, Wang Dakan has probably been poisoned by his own snake venom and cannot take care of himself. How could such an inexperienced kid be inserted into someone's face? It's so hard to deal with. Zhang Haoran ignored Yin Hai and walked directly towards Huang Dongdong. Looking at Zhang Haoran without even looking at him, Yin Hai's eyes were filled with viciousness. He has always disliked Zhang Haoran dressing up as a saint every night. But Zhang Haoran has always been ranked first in strength, overpowering himself, the second best in the world. Zhang Haoran walked up to Huang Dongdong and said to Huang Dongdong seriously, I need to pay a favor. Huang Dongdong looked at Zhang Haoran and frowned slightly. I don't care whether you have a business relationship or not, but you don't want to touch this stupid guy again. Zhang Haoran looked at Huang Dongdong and said, he could only move his palms slightly. I'm sorry, Zhang is offended. Zhang Haoran spoke concisely and to the point, and his momentum immediately began to soar. The surrounding dining tables and chairs were blown away by Zhang Haoran's breath. At this time, Zhang Haoran's eyes were clear. He looks more heroic and upright than before. Haoran is upright. Huang Dongdong narrowed his eyes slightly. Are you from the Zhang family? As the inherited family of Zhongzhou, the Zhang family. With Shu Haoran's righteousness as the inheritance, the clan members born into the world are all upright and upright people. Good eyesight, I'm offended. Zhang Haoran said he was offended, but his actions did not stop. I saw Zhang Haoran pointing in the direction of Huang Dongdong. No fires allowed here. In an instant, the fire-tip spear in Huang Dongdong's hand dissipated directly into nothingness. Shameless. Huang Dongdong looked at his empty palms and muttered. This is Haoran's righteousness, which can change the rules around him and reach the point where his words become prophecies. Of course, it also has something to do with strength, but this weird ability does give it an advantage in battles at the same level, making it extremely difficult to deal with. Although Huang Dongdong cursed, he did not dare to pause for a moment. Cross your hands directly, and concentrate your internal energy on your arms. Bang! Zhang Haoran punched Huang Dongdong's arm. The huge force directly made Huang Dongdong take 2 steps back. It hurts. Huang Dongdong shook his arm and bared his teeth. Zhang Haoran also said in praise, what a great inner strength. Then, with a gleam in his eyes, he continued to say to Huang Dongdong. No defense here. Then, Zhang Haoran's next punch hit him directly. Is it really possible for me to become a young master? Huang Dongdong also became a little angry after listening to Zhang Haoran's restrictive rules over and over again. The beating was too frustrating. Subsequently, a golden red fire began to appear in his eyes. A spark with 3 petals appeared between her eyebrows. In an instant, the awe-inspiring righteousness that restricted the rules evaporated into smoke. Samadhi real fire. Zhang Haoran was a little surprised. However, Quan Feng did not shrink back, but instead used a lot more force. As Zhang Haoran's powerful and heavy blow was about to hit Huang Dongdong's face. The fire in Huang Dongdong's eyes instantly formed a fire lotus in front of him. Rushing towards Zhang Haoran's fist. Boom! A huge force exploded. Huang Dongdong and Zhang Haoran flew out directly. However, Zhang Haoran twisted his waist in midair and landed on the ground, stopping his body. Huang Dongdong ran into Wang Dakan's arms. The two of them flew upside down for several meters. He was spread out on the ground, looking quite embarrassed. Ouch, it really hurts. Huang Dongdong covered his face and walked out of Wang Dakin's arms. He looked at Zhang Haoran with an unconvinced expression. Come again. How brave. Zhang Haoran shouted. Then, Haoran's true energy condensed on his fist, and he was ready to hit Huang Dongdong again. Huang Dongdong was not to be outdone. The golden red musket condensed in his hand and stabbed towards Zhang Haoran. Boom. The two were traveling very fast, and they collided without seeing clearly. A huge explosion of power kicked up dust. When the dust disperses, everyone was surprised to find there was a person standing between Huang Dongdong and Zhang Haoran. This person is holding a musket in one hand and Zhang Haoran's fist in the other. His eyes were dull, as if he didn't use much effort at all. Wang Dakin on the side cried out after seeing the person clearly. Yi, Teacher Yi, Chapter 30. Rage, no one can leave without my permission. Yi ran, also seeing clearly who was coming were Zhang Haoran and others. At this time, Zhang Haoran and others looked shocked. Impossible. Others may not know it, but Zhang Haoran knows very well how powerful his punch is. In order to compete with Huang Dongdong, he had already tried his best. In other words, his punch was a full-strength blow that reached the peak of gold. Coupled with the blessing of Haoran's righteousness, ordinary golden people may not be able to connect in the later stage. Not only that, Huang Dongdong's golden red spear was not weaker than his own in terms of momentum, and presumably it was his own unique skill. This left and right are all full blows from the golden peak. Unexpectedly, Yi Ran picked it up so easily. Is this still the useless mentor I knew before? Didn't your teacher teach you that the cafeteria is a place for eating? Yi Ran stood in the middle and snorted coldly, straining his arms slightly. Huang Dongdong and Zhang Haoran were thrown out directly, with no room for resistance. In the end, Yi Ran went straight to Wang Dakin. Looking at Yi Ran walking towards him, Wang Dakin hurriedly wiped the blood on his eyebrows. Master, I'm fine, just a minor injury. Shut up. Different from his usual peaceful appearance, Yi Ran interrupted Wang Dakin rudely today. He gently tapped Wang Dakin's forehead and carefully checked Wang Dakin's body with the system. After confirming that Wang Dakin's health was correct, he said, "You're so promising." A fight started outside. When Wang Dakin heard the blame in Yi Ran's words, he immediately knelt down and kowtowed to Yi Ran. Master, this disciple realizes his mistake. Are you this stupid big master? Just as Wang Dakin was apologizing to Yi Ran, Huang Dongdong jumped out from the side. He looked at Yi Ran with questioning eyes. Yi Ran looked at Huang Dongdong with a smile. When he was far away, he had already seen Huang Dongdong standing in front of Wang Dakin. Naturally, he had a good impression of Huang Dongdong. Yes, I am his master. Technically speaking, I am Yi Ran, the tutor of grade 1 and class 2. I have to thank you for your generous help. Huang Dongdong waved his hand after hearing Yi Ran's thanks. Children of the Jianghu, when we see injustice on the road, we just draw our swords to help. Seeing the young Huang Dongdong speak such old-fashioned quack words, the corners of Yi Ran's mouth raised slightly. I don't know where such an interesting little guy came from. Huang Dongdong looked at Yi Ran and shook his head angrily. Let me tell you, you are really incompetent as a master. You are unqualified. You are really unqualified. Hearing what Huang Dongdong said, his teacher Wang Dakin stood up quickly. How can you talk nonsense? Hey, silly guy, I'm speaking for you, and you bite me back. White-eyed wolf. You. Wang Dakin wanted to say something more, but was blocked by Yi Ran. Then he looked at Huang Dongdong curiously. Since you say I am incompetent, why not tell me where I am incompetent? Hearing Yi Ran's question, Wang Dongdong also raised his little hand, stretched out his fingers, and began to count. First, you didn't protect your apprentice well enough. Your apprentice was almost destroyed, and you didn't even arrive at the scene. Second, you don't seek justice for your apprentice, but instead educate your apprentice. Finally, Huang Dongdong looked at Yi Ran, and do you know why your apprentice was beaten? Listening to Huang Dongdong's words, Yi Ran's face became a little ugly at this time. It was not because Huang Dongdong pointed out his problems, but because he heard that someone wanted to abolish Wang Dakin. It's okay to fight, it's okay to lose, but you want to destroy my apprentice here. Court death. Seeing Yi Ran not responding to him, Huang Dongdong continued. I think you don't even know, let me tell you why the apprentice was beaten. Huang Dongdong then pulled Wang Dakan, and then pointed at Zhang Heoran and the 4 others. Those 4 students, when your stupid guy didn't do anything, just knocked over his dinner plate, saying it was because the meat your stupid guy ate disgusted them. They keep mocking your stupid guy for being a beast who only knows how to eat raw meat. Even if your stupid guy gives in again and again, he is still chased and scolded by them. He's not angry at all, but do you know why this stupid guy still got into a fight in the end? Huang Dongdong looked at Yi Ran and said angrily, it's because those 4 people scolded you. They said that those who can teach students to become beasts are worse than beasts. The more Huang Dongdong talked, the angrier he became. Did you hear that? The stupid guy fought because of you, but what happened to you? Indiscriminately, you blamed him for fighting first. Is this how you treat yourself as a master? My master is bad enough, and he still knows how to protect the calf, so you just say whether you are qualified or not. Huang Dongdong originally came from the same school as Master Huo Wen. His fiery temper is easily aroused, and he calls himself excited. Seeing Huang Dongdong getting more and more excited as he talked, Wang Dakan grabbed Huang Dongdong and said, okay, stop talking. My master is a teacher in the school after all. Wang Dakan was still thinking about how to excuse Yi Ran, but Yi Ran grabbed his arm. He's right. He didn't do a good job as a teacher. Yi Ran's tone was cold, and he turned his head to look at the 4 students opposite him. Full aura. The evil aura all over his body shrouded the 4 of them. For a moment, Zhang Heoran and the 4 of them felt like they were carrying a heavy burden of 10,000 kilograms, and they had to use their skills to resist the pressure. This momentum is unmatchable. The 4 of them looked at the furious Yi Ran in astonishment. Didn't it mean that Yi Ran was just a silver-level salted fish instructor? This feeling of oppression is as thick as a mountain. You tell me this is silver. You also heard what I said just now. I ask you, is it true? Yi Ran asked coldly, with a strong sense of oppression that made several people dare not speak. Zhang Heoran said, true. Yi Ran glanced at Zhang Heoran in slight surprise. Good boy, if you dare to act bravely, you will save me from asking any more questions. Now that I have admitted it, I will stop talking nonsense. According to school regulations, if there is a fight between students, and the circumstances are serious, the ability will be revoked and the student will be expelled from the school. Listening to Yi Ran's words, Yin Hai, who was among the 4 of them, felt that something was not good. He instantly used his superpower and prepared to take the opportunity to escape. As a result, Yin Hai's superpower has just been transformed. Ink-colored flames appeared out of thin air around his body. Yin Hai grimaced as it hurt at the slightest touch or contamination. Without my permission, the 4 of you can't go anywhere. Yi Ran's cold voice came again. The voice was like the demon lord coming from under the 9 netherworld. Hey, isn't this teacher Yi? What kind of wind brought you here? Just when Yi Ran was preparing to deal with the 4 students in this matter. Suddenly a voice came from behind. Everyone goes out looking for fame. I saw Han Kyun walking towards here with a smile on his face. When Yin Hai and others saw that the person coming was Han Kyun, their eyes lit up slightly. My teacher is here. Han Kyun walked to Yi Ran's side radiantly and looked at the crowd around him in surprise. Good guy, it's so lively. I didn't expect so many people to come to the cafeteria. Then Han Kyun patted Yin Hai on the shoulder, smiled proudly at Yi Ran and said, I forgot to introduce you to teacher Yi. These are 4 of my most proud students, all of whom are currently at the gold level. Come and say hello to teacher Yi. Han Kyun directed 4 students. Yin Hai and others bowed to Yi Ran hypocritically. Hello teacher. Then he looked at Yi Ran with a proud look on his face. There was an expression on his face that said my teacher is here too, what can you do to me? Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 31 Platinum Level. Fan it. Oops, that hypocrite is here. I said those people looked so familiar, they turned out to be in the class of hypocrites. Then this all makes sense. There are quite a few instances of beating students in their class. The most irritating thing is that several times when students and teachers came to ask for explanations, they were fooled by this hypocrite using his status as a celebrity mentor. Why do you think their class has been so tyrannical in school? It's because there is this hypocrite behind them. It's over, this matter may not be settled. Yi Ran was faster and came earlier. The students from class 2 arrived just now. When they saw this scene, they all started talking about it. If Han Kyun was here, it is very likely that Wang Dakin's beating would have been in vain. Teacher Han, you came just in time. Come and tell me how to deal with this matter. Yi Ran looked at Han Kun calmly and said. Han Kun looked at Yi Ran curiously and then at his students, with confusion on his face as if he had just arrived. I just came, what happened? He disappeared during the fight, but showed up as soon as the student was about to be punished. You said you just came here, who were you kidding? Where's the ghost letter? Seeing Han Kun pretending to be stupid, Yi Ran said directly without any hesitation. Your students have just admitted their intention to destroy my student Wang Dakin. According to school regulations, if there is a fight between students, and the circumstances are serious, the ability will be revoked and the student will be expelled from the school. Hearing Yi Ran's words, Teacher Han was surprised. Teacher Yi, what you say must be based on evidence. Isn't your classmate Wang Dakin still standing here doing well? Why was he abolished? Did I not make it clear enough? Your students have admitted that they have the intention to destroy my student Wang Dakin. Don't you understand the intention? Yi Ran looked at Han Kun indifferently. Han Kun listened to Yi Ran's words and smiled. Well, I don't know if there is a sentence in the school rules that means you will be expelled if you have the intention to abolish it. Why don't you teach me where this sentence comes from? Quote. Besides, you said that my students have this intention, is it true? Then Han Kun turned around and asked the 4 students behind him, tell the teacher, you really want to abolish Wang Dakin? Intention. Wang Haoran, who had admitted before, looked troubled, but still chose to remain silent. Yin Hai and others standing behind him immediately stood up. Teacher, we just had a little quarrel with classmate Wang Dakin, and we never wanted to destroy him. I admit it was because Teacher Yi was too strong just now, we were forced to admit it. Yin Hai and others not only denied their previous intentions, but also further discredited Yi Ran. After hearing the speeches of these 4 people, Han Kun's expression suddenly turned cold. Teacher Yi, what do you mean? Should the evildoer file a complaint first? Finally, Han Kun turned to the person not far away and said. Director Wang, how do you judge this matter? Everyone turned their heads. Only then did he realize that a figure was coming not far away. This person was Wang Chenghai, the Deputy Director of Academic Affairs for the first year. Wang Chenghai supported his big belly and walked up to the crowd with a smile on his face. As for this matter, I just heard about it on the road. I think this matter is entirely your problem, Teacher Yi. How can you force students to surrender? This is absolutely not allowed in our grade. Wang Chenghai frowned and looked at Yi Ran, then waved his hand impatiently. Let's do this, Teacher Yi, since this is your first time offending. You can apologize to these 4 classmates and get their forgiveness. We can turn this matter into a minor matter. Despite this, Han Kun still looked at Wang Chenghai angrily. Director Wang, how can you favor a teacher and not protect the students? Wang Chenghai comforted Han Kun as if he was acting. Okay, Teacher Han, you have a lot of wisdom, please forgive Teacher Yi this time. Han Kun snorted coldly, and then said, then I will give you face, Director Wang, this time. Wang Chenghai looked at Yi Ran understandingly. Did you see that? Mr. Han has forgiven you a lot, why don't you apologize immediately? In just 2 sentences, the plaintiff directly became the defendant. Obviously, this is the double act sung by Wang Chenghai and Han Kun. The eyes of the second-class students standing far away were almost burning. What the hell is this? It was Wang Dakin who was beaten. It's okay if those 4 students are not punished. Now we have to ask Teacher Yi to apologize to them. Director Wang and Han Kun are just wearing the same pair of pants and are colluding together. It makes me angry. You talk to people about fairness and justice every day. Is this called fairness and justice? Go to hell. ... Teacher Yi, class is about to start. Please apologize quickly. Your class is not in class, but we still have class. Han Kun looked at his watch impatiently. Looking down at Yi Ran. Director Wang, it was obviously these 4 students who beat me first. I am sure they wanted to destroy me. How can I ask Teacher Yi to apologize? Hearing that, Wang Chenghai and Han Kun asked Yi Ran to apologize to the 4 students who beat them. Wang Dakin argued anxiously. HMPH, what's wrong with your child when you're talking to an adult? Han Kun snorted coldly. At the moment of scolding, Bai Jin's breath flashed slightly, and an invisible shock wave directly hit Wang Dakin's body. Wang Dakin was caught off guard and suffered this disaster. Bang, bang, bang. After 3 violent collisions, Wang Dakan was slammed into the corner. Wang Dakan, who was already suffering from some injuries, could not withstand the attack of the strong platinum man. At this moment, he was vomiting blood and could not stand up. At the moment Wang Dakan was knocked away, Yi Ran said nothing and slapped Han Kun directly. Director Wang, you have seen it clearly. Teacher Yi took the initiative to attack me. This is self-defense. Han Kun looked at Yi Ran who was attacking him. The corners of his mouth were raised slightly. This was one of Han Kun's goals, to provoke Yi Ran to attack him. Only in this way can he have the opportunity to destroy Yi Ran openly. Although Han Kun's wishful thinking came true, but when he came into contact with Yi Ran's attack, but he found that things were not as simple as he thought. Snapped. A crisp, precise slap sounded on Han Kun's cheek. The left side of Han Kun's face became swollen. Blood even flowed from the nostrils. Han Kun stood there blankly, looking at his hands that had just been flicked away by Yi Ran. I can't believe this scene in front of me. What's the situation? I, the platinum expert, didn't block the slap of this useless mentor. Chapter 32. Stand back and watch how the master trains the dog. Not only Han Kun was stunned. Others present were also stunned. What's going on? Am I right? Teacher Yi slapped that hypocrite. And he even hit me. No. How did you do this? The hypocrite has a bad character, but his strength is real platinum. Just now, Teacher Yi suppressed 4 golds and was speechless. It was scary enough. Now he slaps the platinum powerhouse in the face. Am I still awake? Anyway, this time, I feel so relieved. Well done, I've seen this hypocrite unhappy for a long time. I'll admit it, but as far as this is concerned, there aren't many teachers in the entire grade who can do it so easily, right? When did Teacher Yi become so powerful? Wasn't it always silver before? This is called being wise but foolish, hiding one's strength and biding one's time. You don't understand. Teacher Yi is awesome. Whoever says Teacher Yi is a salty fish in the future, who am I to worry about? The students in class 2 were all shocked and extremely pleasantly surprised. Who doesn't want his teacher to be the best in the world? No, actually, I don't blame everyone for being so shocked. The gap in strength between platinum and those below platinum is really too great. Platinum powerhouse, as a half step towards the threshold of master. If people before platinum were still studying the path of their predecessors. After that, Bai Jin has begun to understand the rules and try to walk his own path, to the extent that he can teach others. This is also the reason why the Magic City Gaowu Academy agrees that those with platinum gold and above can accept direct disciples. In short, those who are strong in platinum are a degrading blow to those below platinum. Even that S-level monster, Zhang Hedong, who suppressed the family's ability to lift their head. I once failed to defeat a strong platinum player when I jumped up a level. This gap can no longer be bridged by just one S-level talent. And now, Teacher Yi obviously has not walked out of his own way, and he is definitely not a platinum expert. However, he was able to use his golden posture to slap and swollen the face of the strong platinum man when he was on guard. This situation is unheard of and simply unbelievable. How is that possible? Han Kun covered his face and worked hard to reduce the swelling while looking at Yi Ran in disbelief. The sense of unreality left him speechless. Yi Ran, do you know what you are doing? Wang Chenghai on the side pointed at Yi Ran angrily. Yi Ran didn't even look at Wang Chenghai and said softly. Again, I'll beat you too. Wang Chenghai pointed at Yi Ran angrily, but he honestly chose to shut up. Although he is the deputy director of the grade, he is an older person who got along with his seniority. Usually he is good at bossing people around, but when it comes to fighting, he is not ranked at all. The strong platinum man was defeated, and he didn't want to receive that slap. Then, Yi Ran walked step by step towards Wang Dakan, who was beaten away by Han Kun. He helped Wang Dakan up and shook off the gravel on Wang Dakan's body. Dakan, I have always taught you to be kind to others. I am very happy that you have listened to me, but I don't like your behavior today. Wang Dakan looked at Yi Ran and touched the back of his head honestly. I'm sorry, teacher, for causing you such trouble. Yi Ran waved his hand. It is the teacher's duty to protect students, not to mention trouble. Then Yi Ran pointed at Han Kun. I was negligent as a teacher. I only teach you how to treat people, but not how to treat dogs. Listening to Yi Ran calling himself a dog. After Han Kun recovered from the shock, his eyes began to turn red. Han Kun, has always been the only one to bully others. How could someone bully him? Or was he being bullied by a salty fish instructor in front of so many people? At this time, Han Qun's anger level had reached its peak. Yi Ran, you are looking for death. After saying that, Han Qun's momentum instantly soared. The powerful aura directly drove back all the students. A snow-white lion appeared behind Han Qun, its eyes wide open with anger, and its almost substantial murderous aura left traces on the ground. A-level superpower, White Jade Lion. One of the top existences among A-level ferocious beasts, its racial strength is no less than that of a devouring ferocious pig. The racial talent is the Jade ability, which can turn objects in contact into jade. Once the talent is activated, it's very possible that he was hit again and again. The opponent's arms and legs were all turned into jade. This weird ability coupled with the powerful body functions of the A-level ferocious beast. Close combat with the White Jade Lion is simply a nightmare for the opponent. Following Han Qun's urging, the White Lion directly transformed into Han Qun's body. Han Qun's whole body grew bigger. The tight muscles contain explosive power, and the red eyes reveal naked aggression. You will regret what you did today. Han Qun's mouth moved slightly, his spine hunched up, approaching Yi Ran like a predator staring at his prey. Han Qun was coming fiercely, but Yi Ran, who was at the center of the pressure, remained calm. He pointed at the furious Han Qun and continued to teach Wang Dakan, remember what I said as a teacher. When you encounter a barking dog, there is only one thing you need to do. Yi Ran looked at Han Qun, his eyes sparkling. Beat it until it obeys. Moment. Yi Ran's aura began to surge, and a giant black dragon circled around Yi Ran. Roar. Mo Long let out a loud roar and roared at the huge White Jade Lion. The moment the vigorous momentum confronted Han Qun. Not surprisingly, the war is about to break out. Oh no, Teacher Yi is crazy. He actually chooses to confront the hypocrite. Platinum beats gold. Teacher Yi will die. It's a big mess. Find someone to help quickly and save Teacher Yi. Go to the Academic Affairs office to ask for Director La. Yes, go and ask Director La. Without saying a word, Li Murin rushed towards the Academic Affairs office. Unknowingly, the hearts of the students in Class 2 gathered around Yi Ran. Yi Ran, you asked for this. Han Qun really didn't understand why Golden Yi Ran. Where did you get the courage to choose to confront him head-on? But it doesn't matter, it just happened to agree with him. This time, he will completely beat Yi Ran into trash in front of Yi Ran's students. Han Qun's eyes were filled with viciousness. He already wanted to tear Yi Ran alive. It just so happens that I'm not used to bullying small ones. Yi Ran looked at Han Qun, who was in full swing, still looking calm. He walked forward and looked at the alienated lion. I was worried about how to deal with those students. After all, the guy who admitted it didn't look like someone who likes to bully others. After much thought, only a beast like you can force students to engage in such despicable methods. He waved his hand towards Wang Dakan. Stand back and watch carefully how the teacher trains the dog. Chapter 33 Racial Talent, Jadification. Han Qun was extremely angry and laughed. Seriously, the first thing I want to do is to tear your mouth apart. Lies won't hurt, the truth is the sharpest knife. Yi Ran's words could poke Han Qun's lungs with precision. The swelling will subside first before we talk. Yi Ran's words made Han Qun's anger soar to a new height. Hey! A voice passed by. Han Qun turned into a white afterimage and rushed towards Yi Ran. The speed was so fast that it caused a sonic boom. There was a loud noise of bang. There was an explosion sound like two mountains colliding together, causing a wave of air. The students who were approaching were immediately thrown away by the powerful aftermath. When the aftermath dissipates, at the center of the explosion, Yi Ran and Han Qun were deadlocked. Han Qun's fierce punch was actually blocked by Yi Ran with one hand. How is this possible? Han Qun held a huge lion's head on his head, with an incredible look in his eyes. If you say that being slapped before is an underestimation. This time, he tried his best to kill Yi Ran. But just a full blow. Or was he blocked by this salted fish instructor? How come the iron rule of not skipping the level to challenge platinum doesn't apply to Yi Ran? The strong sense of unreality made Han Qun feel a little dazed. In fact, it's not surprising that Han Qun was in a daze. Even if anyone were to stand here now, they would not think that the gold level Yi Ran could withstand the full blow of a platinum level strongman. Han Kyun came to his senses and continued to attack with his fists without believing in evil. Each punch was powerful and heavy, containing the full strength of a platinum-level expert. Wherever the whistling wind of the fist passed, even the solid wood tables and chairs were torn apart. Faced with this fierce storm, Yi Ran calmly waved the power of the Ink Dragon. Defend every attack of Han Kyun with extreme precision. This left Han Kyun with nothing to do, and every attack was in vain. For a while, the two of them were fighting back and forth, evenly matched. It's not like a platinum-level powerhouse crushing gold at all. This scene stunned all the students. Holy shit, what did I see? This is platinum hitting gold. Isn't it true that any genius can't challenge platinum? What is this? Teacher Yi should not be called a genius, he should be called a monster. I'm convinced, Teacher Yi is awesome. Who the hell will call Teacher Yi a salty fish in the future? Who the hell am I worried about? Director Le called me early. Who would have thought that Teacher Yi could be evenly matched with this hypocrite? Why did you call me so early? Let Director Le take a closer look to see if our Teacher Yi is too tough, or if this hypocrite is just a parallel import. All the students were immersed in Yi Ran's toughness. In fact, Yi Ran's talent belongs to the top ranks of the family, and his bloodline and talent are strong. If it weren't for that series of changes, Yi Ran would now be at least a genius on the same level as Luanyi. And now Yi Ran has exceeded his golden mark. Yi Ran, who crossed the natural chasm, was like a carp crossing the dragon gate, turning into a dragon. The foundation that has been laid for nearly 10 years has been sublimated and exploded at the moment of breakthrough. Its energy purity and quality are extremely high, so rich that it doesn't look like a gold-level powerhouse at all. Not to mention Yi Ran's innate Taoist physique, and the blessing of the system. At this time, Yi Ran has gathered many miraculous factors into one, and is fully capable of competing with the strong men of the platinum level. There is no iron rule that cannot be broken. It's just that the fist is not hard enough and the strength is not strong enough. Perhaps due to interference from off-field factors, Han Kyun's offense became more and more impatient and had more and more problems. The situation on the court also started with Han Kyun's full attack in Yi Ran's defense. It gradually evolved into two people attacking each other. Even Han Kyun had to start defending at some points. At this time, Han Kyun felt that Yi Ran could capture the key points of every punch he made in advance. Attack with all your strength. Yi Ran just needs to take action at the key points of his attack, and he can easily resolve it. This feeling was like being seen through, which made Han Kyun extremely aggrieved. There was a sound of bang. Following Han Kyun's slight negligence, Yi Ran found the right opportunity and punched Han Kyun directly in the face. Han Kyun was caught off guard and was knocked back several meters by the punch. The originally healed nose was bleeding out again, looking extremely miserable. At this time, Han Kyun looked at his nosebleeds that were constantly dripping. The corners of his mouth twitched slightly. Although I really don't want to admit it, without activating my innate magical power, I can't beat Yi Ran. If you continue to fight, you will definitely lose. For a moment, anger and shame occupied Han Kyun's brain. Why should a waste that cannot break through silver in 10,000 years? Now he can actually press himself, the much-anticipated platinum genius, to the ground and rub him. The blood that had stopped flowing started flowing again. Yi Ran smiled disdainfully. If it's this level, I won't even need you to look after the house and nurse. Every word is precious, and there is no word dog in every sentence, but Han Kyun is said to be a dog in every sentence. In an instant, with a flash of white light in Han Kyun's eyes, the white jade lion transformed into Han Kyun began to glow with a strange light. When the light dissipates, the white body became as smooth as porcelain, and even reflected light under the sunlight. Racial talent, Teacher Han, you can't do it. After seeing this scene, Wang Chenghai, the deputy director of the grade on the side, who had been watching the show calmly, started shouting in panic. Although he was not strong enough, he could see what Han Kyun wanted to do with his experienced eyes. Once the white jade lion's innate magical power is unfolded, after that, every punch and kick from Han Kyun hit Yi Kyun. Then the part of Yi Ran's body that was touched will undergo irreversible jade lesions. It ranges from missing arms and legs, to death on the spot. This is completely for Yi Ran's life. The Magic City's high martial arts academies encourage competition among each other, but life and death fights are strictly prohibited. Han Kyun is obviously going to kill him now. Once something like this happens, Not only those involved in the fight will be severely punished, but he, the deputy director of the grade, will also be punished. For a moment, Wang Chenghai was filled with regrets as to why he chose to help Han Kun to cheer him up. Originally, I just wanted to curry favor with a potential celebrity mentor. But I never expected that the outcome of this incident would be completely beyond my imagination. Although Wang Chenghai tried his best to stop him. But Han Kun, who was overwhelmed with anger, could not care about so much. Han Kun's white jade-like fist hit Yi Ran's head directly. Bang! Han Kun's speed was so fast that Yi Ran seemed unable to react. This cannon punch hit Yi Ran firmly on the head. It made an extremely dull sound. If it weren't for the body protection of Malong Zongong, Yi Ran might have been separated from his head at this moment. You brought this on yourself, Han Kun said viciously. As soon as this punch came out, even if Yi Ran could block Han Kun's attack power, he could not block the jade-shaped lesions. Yi Ran will still be dead by then. Sure enough, things turned out as Han Kun expected. Although Yi Ran blocked the blow. But starting from Yi Ran's hair, the whole person glowed with white light. As the white light continues to extend downward, skip Yi Ran's hair, eyebrows, nose, mouth, and chin. Yi Ran's entire head gradually turned into a white jade-colored relief. Chapter 34. Stop the injustice in this world. At this moment, the whole place was silent. Everyone looked at the white relief and couldn't say a word. Wang Chenghai held out his big belly. He ran over in a hurry and looked left and right at Yi Ran's jade sculpture. Angrily, he slapped his thighs with both hands. Han Kun, do you know what you did? You are killing people. Do you know about killing people? Wang Chenghai never expected that the final result of the matter would be like this. He was very upset at this moment. He would have avoided getting involved in this muddy water if he had known better. In my heart, I have scolded the 18 generations of Han Kun's ancestors all over. Wang Chenghai's sentence kills people. Like a thunderous explosion in the plains, it shook the hearts of everyone present. The students looked at all this with horrified eyes. It would have been fine if it was a fight between two parties, but this incident turned into a murder. Especially when a teacher in school killed another teacher. Then things would get really big. At this time, Han Kun also put away his powers and returned to his original appearance. After he regained his senses, a slight flash of panic flashed in his eyes, and finally he regained his composure. He snorted coldly. Murder. Deputy Director Wang, you don't dare to slap this kind of charge on someone's head casually. You. Wang Chenghai's eyes almost popped out of his head after listening to Han Kun's words. He never expected that Han Kun could be so shameless. He obviously did such a thing in public, but he turned around and denied it. At this time, Han Kun calmly walked to Yi Ran. He said to Wang Chenghai, this is obviously because Teacher Yi kept stimulating me with words when he and I were discussing skills, causing my powers to go out of control. It was an accident caused by punching too hard. How can this be considered intentional homicide? Woolen cloth. Director Wang, you have to testify to my innocence. The power is out of control. Wang Chenghai repeated Han Kun's words. Loss of control of superpowers is a mental illness that occurs after a person with superpowers awakens. Once this type of patient is severely stimulated, it is easy for him to lose control of his superpowers and produce uncontrollable behaviors, causing unpredictable consequences. Generally, the supervision department will not pursue the irreparable losses caused by patients with mental illness certificates such as out-of-control abilities. This is a disguised protection for mental patients. At this moment, Han Kun attributed this series of actions to the loss of control of his powers. Clearly trying to excuse himself. Yes, Director Wang, you also know that there were some flaws when I was promoted to platinum. Although I said I was fine at the time, I actually went to the hospital privately to see him. This is a sign of out-of-control supernatural powers. If you don't believe me, I will go home and get you my mental illness certification certificate right now. Han Kun's eyes turned slightly red as he spoke, and his expression seemed to be that he had been greatly wronged and was about to cry. Actually, I didn't mean to hide it from everyone. I was just afraid that the school would expel me as a tutor because my powers were out of control. Director Wang, you know, I really like students, and I really want to do something for our school. Make some contribution. As Han Kun spoke, he began to choke. This scene completely stunned everyone present, even a cunning old man like Wang Chenghai was stunned. However, after analyzing the pros and cons, Wang Chenghai immediately chose to side with Han Kun. After all, if Han Kun killed Yi Ran out of anger, he would definitely be regarded as an accomplice and severely punished by the school. But now Han Kun said that he accidentally killed someone because of a mental illness such as losing control of his powers. He also admitted why he hid his mental illness. If this series of things is true, at most, I would only be shouldering the insignificant responsibility of not caring about my mentor's mental condition. Which of the responsibilities is more important or less important? Wang Chenghai can tell immediately when he thinks about it. Wang Chenghai, who wanted to understand, took a deep look at Han Kun for a moment. To be able to think of such wonderful resolving techniques at such a critical moment, coupled with such realistic acting skills. Although this kind of person is simply the scum of scum in terms of character. However, this kind of coping ability is really a rare talent. Wang Chenghai understood and walked up to Han Kun, who was choking and sobbing, and patted Han Kun's shoulder distressed. Han Kun wiped away tears and said with choked sobs, "I'm sorry, Director Wang, I really didn't expect things to turn out like this. I really deserve to die, I'm a murderer." The more Han Kun talked, the more excited he became. Finally, he raised his hands directly and said pleadingly to Wang Chenghai, "Director Wang, please arrest me now and let the school and the supervision department hold me accountable. I am willing to give one life for Teacher Yi." Seeing that Han Kun had already mastered the double recital, how could Wang Chenghai not understand Han Kun's thoughts? While looking at Han Kun distressedly, he sighed softly. "Hey, get up, Teacher Han. It's not your fault. It's our ancestors' responsibility for not doing the power awakening ceremony well." Finally, he took a look at the jade sculpture that Yi Ran had turned into, and said with regret, "It's a pity, Teacher Yi. Who would have thought that he, who has always been mediocre, would break out into such an amazing performance today? It's a pity that he wanted to express himself too much and ended up causing such a big disaster to himself. Everything is destiny, right?" Quote. The two of them sang together and exchanged a few light words. The black is said to be white, and the perpetrator is said to be the victim. However, justice lies in the heart of the people. At this time, the students in Class 2 looked at these two people, with anger written all over their faces. Especially Wang Dakan, he couldn't bear to take care of the wounds on his body and walked to Yi Ran, looking at all this in disbelief. Later, he, who has a simple and honest temperament. At this moment, he pointed at Wang Chenghai and Han Kun angrily. "Are you still being reasonable? It was obviously this bastard who accidentally killed Teacher Yi. He is a murderer. A murder must be paid with a life." Wang Dakan's words stirred up 1,000 waves with one stone. All the students in Class 2 followed Wang Dakan and shouted in unison. "Kill for life! Kill for life! Kill for life!" ... The voices were roaring, and the students' anger seemed to be reaching the roof of the restaurant. The scattered first grade and second grade students gathered unimaginable power at this moment. When Wang Chenghai saw this, he snorted disdainfully. "Shut up." With a roar, Wang Chenghai's late gold aura combined with the superior aura. For a moment, all the students present were stunned. "It's not your students' turn to make any comments about the school's decision." Wang Chenghai glanced at these students with disdain. A group of losers who are about to be eliminated, don't think about how to work hard to stay, and still have time to care about other people's affairs. I will count to 3. Students who have not left after 3 times will have 3 points deducted from their year-end assessment. Class 2 of the first grade is originally the last class of the freshman class. All the students have low scores. If everyone is deducted another 3 points, there is a high risk of being dismissed. Wang Chenghai thought he had grasped this point. He threatened the students in front of him with a look of disdain. 3, 2, 1. When Wang Chenghai finished talking about the 3 numbers, this group of students who should have been knocked down and dispersed are still standing where they are. A person chooses to leave. At this moment, all the students stared angrily. "Go to Nima's school. Give my teacher his life. Give my teacher his life. Kill for life. Kill for life." The students' anger broke out again. They stood in front of Yi Ran in unison. "Use your weak body to help Yi Ran block the injustice in this world." Chapter 35. The superpower is a good one, but it's a pity that it belongs to a beast. This, Wang Chenghai, who did not scare the students, was stunned on the spot. He usually uses the power of his superiors to dictate matters. How have he ever seen such a scene? "Director Wang, let me handle it." Seeing Wang Chenghai in trouble, Han Qun patted Wang Chenghai on the shoulder and said with a smile. At this moment, the corners of Han Qun's mouth were raised, and he was so complacent that his happy mood almost overflowed. Where is the appearance of crying uncontrollably before? This hypocrite can't even pretend. Han Qun walked up to Wang Chenghai. Looking at this group of students who were protecting Yi Ran and never taking a step back, I felt a sense of anger in my heart for no reason. Maybe he hates the house and the bird, maybe he is a little jealous. Han Qun looked around for a week, looked at the students in front of him and said calmly. Director Wang is kind to you, but I am different. I will count to 3 more this time. If you still don't leave, I'm sorry. Saying that, Han Qun turned on all fire in front of the students. The white jade lion was directly alienated into himself. The powerful platinum aura suppressed these students, who may not even have silver, to retreat continuously, and even their breathing was a little uncomfortable. A naked threat forced all students present to submit. Whoosh! Before Han Qun started counting, suddenly a golden red musket pierced Han Qun's face. Ha! Han Qun snorted coldly, without even raising his hand. A jade-faced barrier instantly appeared in front of him, directly blocking the menacing musket. When the gun touched the jade barrier, it instantly dissipated into nothingness. I'm so angry. Is there such a thing as a royal law? A bunch of rats are running rampant. It really makes me sick. As soon as he finished speaking, Huang Dongdong, who was as big as a brat, appeared directly in front of the student. How could he, who hated evil so much, endure these bastards who were confusing right and wrong in front of him? After seeing the person clearly, Han Qun frowned slightly. He really didn't expect that such a young kid would appear in the university cafeteria. Moreover, the strength of this young kid far exceeds that of a freshman. Such a person has a very strong background at first glance, and is likely to have a strong mentor. For a moment, Han Qun did not dare to act rashly. When the old and cunning Wang Chenghai saw Huang Dongdong's appearance, his heart skipped a beat. How could he, who was more senior, not recognize the talented young man in front of him? He quickly walked forward and whispered into Han Qun's ear. This is a visiting professor in our school, a direct disciple of Huo Wen, the leader of the fire sect. After hearing this, Han Qun frowned slightly. Huo Wen, the leader of the fire sect, the master of the Diamond Peak. I heard that he has a hot temper and is extremely protective. After learning about Huang Dongdong's inheritance, Han Qun felt a little troubled. However, he still put on an extremely professional posture and said to Huang Dongdong. My little friend, you must have heard what happened before. Now we need to deal with the internal affairs of our school. Please don't interfere too much. Huang Dongdong didn't care about Han Qun at all. He once again transformed a musket in his hand and pointed it at Han Qun. He spat contemptuously. Bah! What kind of big-tailed wolf are you pretending to be here, you murderer? Listening to Huang Dongdong's merciless insults to him, Han Qun's face also became a little ugly. Little friend, please speak clearly, please don't slander casually. Okay. Murderer, murderer, murderer. Huang Dongdong looked at Han Qun with disdain. How many times do you want to hear it? I'll tell you. Then Huang Dongdong pointed at Han Qun and said seriously. If you can, kill me today. If you can't, I will make your today's incident public to the public. Then everyone will see how this devil's Gaowu Academy deals with a scum like you. Hearing Huang Dongdong's words, Han Qun's eyes narrowed slightly. If they are all students of the school, he is relatively easy to control. Even if there are students who want to make trouble, he can still suppress them. But Huang Dongdong is not a student of the school, but a direct disciple of the master. With such an identity, I couldn't coerce him. But it happened that it was Huang Dongdong who said this. It is very likely to cause an uproar and have an extremely negative impact on yourself. It would be better to let Huang Dongdong go out and be the loudspeaker. Thinking of this, Han Qun's eyes already had murderous intent. After the power is out of control, killing one is killing, killing two is killing. It seemed that he felt the cold murderous aura on Han Qun's body. Huang Dongdong cursed directly. Calling you a rat is really flattering you. You are just a beast. A beast that kills people without blinking an eye and is not a human being at all. Huang Dongdong's words directly angered Han Qun. At this time, Han Qun's right hand manifested the white energy again. Jade's skill is activated again. You asked for this. Han Qun shouted coldly, turning into a white phantom and rushing towards Huang Dongdong. Roar. The punch Han Qun threw had a vague roar of a lion. The direction of attack was exactly Huang Dongdong's forehead. It was obvious that he wanted to kill Huang Dongdong with one blow. The speed of Han Qun's attack was beyond Huang Dongdong's expectation. Before he could react, Han Qun's fist had already hit him. But just when Han Qun's fist was about to hit Huang Dongdong's face, a powerful hand tightly grasped Han Qun's fist, helping Huang Dongdong block this fatal blow. When Han Qun saw the appearance of the person who blocked his attack, he cried out in surprise. Yi Ran. This person was Yi Ran. He smiled at Huang Dongdong. You're welcome for saving my life. Then Yi Ran turned his head, his eyes became cold. His palm secretly exerted force. Han Qun felt as if a steamroller was pressing down on his fist. Even his bones began to creak. The severe pain made him quickly withdraw his fist. And he couldn't help but wave it behind him. At this moment, Han Qun had no time to check his hands. He looked at the living Yi Ran in disbelief. How is this possible? How did you do it? Since he was promoted to the platinum rank, Han Qun's White Jade Lion's innate magical power has never failed. No matter you are a platinum level genius or a half-grand master in the late platinum rank. As long as you stick to his Jade transformation ability, without exception, you will lose arms and legs. Han Qun has also killed a platinum level beast that is stronger than himself. But today, his Jade transformation ability, which he has always been confident in, failed on Yi Ran. Which made him a little unacceptable. At this time, Yi Ran bent down and picked up the jade fragments on the ground. You won't understand even if I tell you. The innate Tao body is known as the darling of the law, and is invulnerable to all laws and unharmed by all laws. Although the jade ability looks extremely strange, it is just a law of attribute change. How could this ability hurt Yi Ran, who has an innate Tao body? Yi Ran threw away the jade fragments and looked at Han Qun with regret. White Jade Lion. The superpower is a good superpower, but it's a pity that it grows on a beast. Chapter 36. Massacre. Are you qualified to be a teacher? Teacher Yi, are you okay? Yes, Teacher Yi, how is your health? Teacher Yi, do you want to go to the infirmary and take a look? Teacher Yi. When the students in class 2 saw Yi Ran standing in front of them alive, everyone gathered around Yi Ran anxiously, asking concernedly how Yi Ran was doing. Wang Dakan couldn't care less about his own pain. He quickly squeezed in and looked at Yi Ran honestly. When Wang Dakan saw that Yi Ran was fine, he felt relieved. He grinned. Teacher Yi, you are so awesome. This can help you survive. Originally, I was prepared to die with you. Teacher Yi is safe and sound, he is more happy than anyone else. It's just that this silly mouth is really not very good at talking. Yi Ran glanced at Dakan helplessly. Dakan, there's no need for that. Wang Dakan also knew that what he said might not be pleasant to listen to. But I don't know how to find a remedy. I could only scratch my head stupidly. Anyway, as long as it's okay, it'll be okay. But after thinking about it, Wang Dakan suddenly said to Yi Ran. Teacher Yi, let's go. We don't want to be like them anymore. After hearing what Wang Dakan said, the students also realized that now is not the time to care. One by one, they hurriedly said to Yi Ran. That's right, Teacher Yi, let's go. Teacher Yi, let's go find Director La to seek justice. That's right, Teacher Yi, let's go to the school. Let's see how the school handles it. Yes, Teacher Yi, a good man doesn't suffer the immediate consequences. Wang Dakan's proposal was responded to by the students. After all, Han Qun is a platinum level expert, and everyone sees his strength. Who knows if Teacher Yi will be in danger again if this conflict continues. After all, in their eyes, Teacher Yi has already passed through the gate of hell once. Yi Ran pressed his hand slightly to signal the students to be quiet. He saw the concern of his classmates. He smiled and said to them. Don't worry, there's no danger. That blow just now. To be precise, Yi Ran deliberately let Han Qun hit him. Because the moment I chose to bring the second-class students to support Wang Dakan, he received the task from the system. It is detected that the cohesion of the class led by the host is increasing, triggering an emergency mission. Unity is strength. Unexpected mission. Unity is strength. Host, please increase the class cohesion by more than 80% as soon as possible. After completing the mission, you will receive the system reward, Master Soul. Close black lens bracket. Teacher Soul. The owner will receive a teaching bonus. The teaching ability will be increased by 20%. and the student's understanding ability will be increased by 10%. Close black lens bracket. Yi Ran could see at a glance that this was a good thing. As long as there is a teacher soul, regardless of the fact that Wang Dakan and Zhang Xiaoru have super talents in their own right and have not yet been developed. Just talking about ordinary students. In the normal process of teaching and solving doubts, Yi Ran will speed up their strength improvement by more than 20%. Their comprehension ability will also increase by 10%. This has a great effect on improving the cultivation progress of Yi Ran's entire class. Yi Ran himself was a little worried that he would not pass the assessment of the overall cultivation progress of his class. As long as you have the soul of a master, none of this will be a problem. So since receiving this mission, Yi Ran has been thinking about how to get this master soul. So there was the scene where he resisted the Korean group with a sure blow. First, Yi Ran has an innate Taoist body and is not afraid of being corroded by rules-based skills. Second, based on the fight, Yi Ran was confident that he would be able to withstand the force of the blow. The result is also obvious. Han Qun's blow successfully ignited the anger of all the students in Class 2. It also succeeded in making Yi Ran's class become monolithic. Class cohesion has also successfully reached 75%. And now, what Yi Ran needs to do is to ignite the whole audience and push the cohesion of the entire class to the highest point. And the gunpowder primer that ignited the audience. Yi Ran looked at Han Qun. He said to Wang Dakan, "The dog training class isn't over yet, how can it end now?" Yi Ran waved his hand, turned around, and stood in front of the students. He moved his neck. He stretched out a hand and hooked towards Han Qun, "Keep shouting." This posture. It is very similar to the gestures of an animal tamer when dealing with wild beasts that have not yet been tamed. Ha ha ha, to be honest, I really admire your courage. Han Qun saw Yi Ran being so provocative and laughed angrily. Looking at your fate, I still plan to spare your life. It seems that I am being sentimental. Killing once is killing twice is killing. Just based on Yi Ran's performance. Han Qun now felt that even if Yi Ran was cut into pieces by 5 horses, he still wouldn't understand his anger. The snow-white lion's head appears again. The familiar white light once again condensed around Han Qun. "Teacher Yi, be careful," Wang Dakan exclaimed. Wang Dakan's voice has not yet fallen. Han Qun has already arrived. Boom. Yi Ran and Han Qun's fists collided. The aftermath of the huge impact knocked away the students who were closer. The response is pretty quick. But how should you deal with this jade? With the help of dog luck, you have diffused your jade ability once. Do you really think you can challenge me? How many treasures do you have left to consume? Han Qun smiled disdainfully. He exerted all his strength to activate the ability of Yue Huo. Although Yi Ran's removal of jade transformation shocked Han Qun, he did not think that this was something Yi Ran could achieve with his own abilities. It must have been resolved with some treasures. However, treasures are limited after all, and when they are used up, Yi Ran's death will naturally come. Everything was as Han Qun expected. With the contact of fists, Yi Ran's fist began to glow white. Han Qun's expression was ferocious, his eyes fixed on Yi Ran's facial expression. He wanted so much to capture the panic on Yi Ran's facial expression to satisfy his perverted pleasure. But instead of seeing panic on Yi Ran's face, he saw a hint of sarcasm. "You don't think that your jade transformation ability is unsolvable, do you?" As soon as Yi Ran finished speaking, the white luster on Yi Ran's fist began to fade. Flesh color appeared on Yi Ran's fist again. In an instant, the jade transformation directly dissipated into nothingness. How is this possible? Han Qun's pupils narrowed slightly, and the changes in front of him caught him off guard. Next time, learn more about how people speak. Don't just learn one sentence and keep shouting back and forth until your ears are almost calloused. Yi Ran's mouth is unforgiving. Then, Yi Ran turned his hand with a knife, and cut Han Qun's elbow directly. Click. There was a sound. Han Qun's right arm was broken directly by the powerful force. Han Qun covered his arm in pain and hurriedly retreated. As a result, Yi Ran came to Han Qun like a ghost. Rolling up the power of the ink dragon, it stabbed Han Qun's right shoulder. Long-term dependence on superpowers makes the body function weak and unqualified. As soon as Yi Ran finished speaking, the power of the ink dragon bit Han Qun's shoulder. Click. With a sound, the joint of Han Qun's right shoulder was removed. The practice of the exercises is sparse, the energy quality is poor, and it is unqualified. Yi Ran raised his fingers and stabbed Han Qun's Tanjong point. PFF'd. The power of the ink dragon pierced Han Qun's belly like a sharp thorn. Han Qun felt that all his strength was gone and his body became weak. Misbehavior leads students astray and is seriously unqualified. Yi Ran turned his left fist into a palm and slapped Han Qun heavily on the left side of his head. Boom. Han Qun was hit hard with a palm on the left side of his head, and the huge impact made his whole body fly up. Han Qun, who was in the air, could no longer hear Yi Ran's scolding clearly. Yi Ran's every move and style were extremely precise in his hidden wounds and vital points. In front of Yi Ran, he was like a doll full of loopholes, ready to be manipulated. In addition to feeling severe pain, Han Qun's eyes were already filled with panic. Right elbow, right shoulder, Tanjong point and the left side of your brain. I have never told anyone about these weaknesses and hidden wounds. How could Yi Ran know everything? Strong confusion and this cruel reality constantly hit Han Qun. Could it be said that there are really geniuses in the world? Can you instantly understand all of the opponent's weaknesses with just a few fights? What kind of evil talent is this? There was a trace of bitterness in the corner of Han Qun's mouth. Why did he want to provoke the monster Yi Ran? You are not qualified in any way, how are you qualified to be a teacher? Yi Ran's movements did not stop. At the moment when Han Qun was floating in the air, the power of the ink dragon gathered on Yi Ran's elbow instantly, carrying a huge force. Directly into Han Qun's chest. Smash it down hard. Han Qun, who was supposed to fly backwards, was directly changed in direction by this huge force. Bang! The powerful force directly smashed Han Qun into the ground. The floor cracked instantly, raising a cloud of smoke and dust. When the smoke and dust dissipates, Yi Ran was the only one left standing proudly among the disciples. At this time, Han Qun was lying in the cracked pit unable to move. Like a dead dog, Yi Ran looked down at the half-dead Han Qun. The golden posture kills platinum. At this moment, the whole place was silent. Chapter 37 Furious Lawanyi, I will kill Han Qun on the spot. Pinch me, am I dreaming? Is this really a battle between platinum and gold? Did I travel through time? What on earth is going on? Can such an outrageous thing really happen in the world? Teacher Yi actually defeated platinum with a golden body. It's not as simple as victory, it's complete abuse. Can't you see the complete abuse? Evildoer. At this moment, all the students looked at this scene in shock and did not recover for a long time. Yi Ran's smooth operation was like a master training a dog. Simple. Rough. I don't take Han Qun as an individual at all. But no matter what, Han Qun is also a platinum powerhouse. And it is still the strongest type among the platinum experts. Being tortured to pieces by such a golden person like Yi Ran. For a moment, all the students in class 2 felt strange when they saw Yi Ran's back. Can this be called a salted fish mentor? Can this be called a lying tutor? Wang Dakan was the only one who clenched his fists with excitement. During the first instruction, he identified Yi Ran as an unborn expert. As a result, every time I discussed it with others, they would only think that Wang Dakan was ill. But what now? This incredible achievement, who dares to question his judgment? Wang Dakan has a refreshing feeling of being drunk while everyone else is awake. He shouted happily. What are you looking at? I've never seen anyone succeed in a leapfrog challenge. At this moment, Wang Dakan is Yi Ran's #1 fan. Everyone looked at Wang Dakan speechlessly. I've seen leapfrog challenges before. But I've never seen someone so easily tortured. Especially when it comes to gold versus platinum, which I have never even heard of. After seeing this scene, the pot-bellied Wang Chenghai was no less shocked than the students present. His eyes narrowed slightly, thinking in his heart. Being experienced, he sees much further than the students. Yi Ran was able to leapfrog the platinum level and completely defeat the strong men with gold. This is something that has never happened in eternity. Once something like this breaks out, it will cause an uproar. After this battle, countless celebrities and masters will come to visit Yi Ran. After all, judging from this record, Yi Ran's talent may far exceed that of ordinary S-level awakeners. It has even surpassed Zhang Hedong, the monster who is said to have dominated the generation of aristocratic families. Let me ask, who wouldn't want to be friends with such a talent? It is even very possible that someone extraordinary will come and accept Yi Ran as his personal disciple. No, Ordinary and extraordinary levels are not enough. Perhaps even their principal, the three pillars of the magic city, may be involved in the scramble to recruit disciples. When the time comes, Yi ran. After thinking for a while, Wang Chenghai looked at Yi Ran's back and swallowed. Will truly become the star of tomorrow who will be held in high esteem by all the stars. No, you must change your image in Yi Ran's heart. With that said, Wang Chenghai walked directly to the side of the pit and spat fiercely at Han Qun who was lying in the middle. Scum, how come there is a teacher with such bad conduct like you in our school? Just because you still want to teach and educate people, disgusting. Disgusting. Wang Chenghai suddenly rebuked Han Qun's behavior righteously, then turned his head, smiled at Yi Ran and said, Teacher Yi, my eyesight is dim and I was deceived by a traitor, so I misunderstood Teacher Yi. I apologize to Teacher Yi. After saying that, Director Wang made a 90-degree bow in front of everyone. He looked up at Yi Ran and praised. They are not afraid of power and have the courage to fight to protect the dignity of students. In today's society, teachers with such excellent qualities are rare. Then he patted his chest and vowed, I will definitely give you full marks in this final assessment. Listening to Wang Chenghai's words, the students were all stunned. They have seen shameless people, but they have never seen such shameless people. Director Wang's speed and execution ability are simply breathtaking. And facing everyone's astonished eyes, Wang Chenghai's face didn't turn red and his heart didn't beat. The sincerity in the eyes is more real than real money. Shame. Is it important? I, Wang Chenghai, have been in school all my life, relying on my ability to bend and stretch my hands. Outside the hall, two figures passed quickly, one behind the other. Master, please slow down, I can't keep up. Wang Xiaoman looked at Luwanyi who was running forward with a bitter look on her face. Ever since the students in Yi Ran's class told Luwanyi that Yi Ran had a fight with Han Qun in the restaurant, Luwanyi stopped even participating in the school board meeting. He sprinted towards the restaurant with all his strength. At this time, Luwanyi's anxiety and anger were written on her face. Slow down and collect Yi Ran's body. Luwanyi's evil spirit was so strong that Wang Xiaoman's mouth showed a wry smile. Master, you must calm down after arriving at the scene. Calm down, how do you want me to calm down? Seeing that Luwanyi could no longer listen to her own words of advice, Wang Xiaoman asked tentatively. If Teacher Yi is really seriously injured, will you? I will kill Han Qun on the spot. Le Enjing narrowed her eyes slightly. The body is filled with murderous aura. Wang Xiaoman on the side had goosebumps. But master, this is at school. Do I care? Listening to Luwanyi's answer, Wang Xiaoman looked bitter. She opened her mouth to say something more. But when I saw Luwanyi's eyes that looked like she was killing someone, she was still lost and chose to shut up. She could only follow Luwanyi obediently and run towards the hall. In short, as long as everything involves Yi Ran, his master seems to have lost his mind. Forget it, I'm tired, let's destroy it. The two of them were extremely fast, and they had already arrived at the entrance of the cafeteria in just a few words of exchange. There was a loud noise of bang. The violent force blasted open the door of the canteen. Everyone immediately turned their heads to look. Luwanyi walked toward the center of the cafeteria with an angry look on her face. Wang Xiaoman, who was following behind him, started frantically looking for Yi Ran as soon as he entered the scene. When she saw Yi Ran standing safe and sound, she often breathed a sigh of relief in her heart. If you're not injured, then it's okay, Director Le is here. Run. Why are you running? Do you think you can run like this? As if they had encountered a natural enemy, the students lowered their heads one by one. The first thing I thought about was running away. Snort. No one present is allowed to leave. Luwanyi snorted coldly, and an invisible ripple spread out with her as the center. In an instant, the invisible realm directly enveloped the center of the restaurant. Everyone present suddenly felt that their legs were not in control, and they could not move even half a step. Lahia, pure and determined, can interfere with people's six senses from the soul level. Luwanyi interfered with the student's presence control over her legs. Where's Han Qun? Ask him to come out to see me. Luwanyi's voice was cold and her tone was so strong that no one dared to refuse. But all the teachers and students looked at me, and I looked at you, but none of them responded to Luwanyi. Seeing no action, Luwanyi shouted impatiently. Han Qun, do you have the guts to hit someone, but don't have the guts to face me? Get out of here. As soon as these words came out, all the students present looked even weirder. Among the crowd, someone said cautiously, Director Le, it may not be convenient for Teacher Han to see you now. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 38 Le Wanyi's Shock. Inconvenient? What is inconvenient? Le Wanyi shouted coldly. Since you don't dare to see me, then I will go see him and tell me where he is. At this time, Le Wanyi's aura was fully activated. He has an attitude of wanting to kill Han Kun. All the students listened to Le Wanyi's words, and their expressions became even weirder. Still, no one said where Han Kun was. Seeing this scene, Le Wanyi narrowed her eyes slightly. You don't even dare to say yes. Are you so afraid of Han Kun's retaliation? Everyone is so greedy for life and afraid of death. Are my students so brave? If anyone doesn't point out where Han Kun is today, the final assessment will be treated as failed. Le Wanyi's domineering attitude is revealed. After hearing what the dean said, all the students retreated in unison. Make way for a way. This road leads directly to the deep pit created by Yi Ran. Le Wanyi frowned, but still walked towards the pit. Director Le, Teacher Han, here. When Le Wanyi saw the scene inside the pit, I couldn't say a word for a long time. The cafeteria fell into an eerie silence once again. So, this guy lying in the pit, is Han Kun? Le Wanyi asked in disbelief. At this time, Le Wanyi still has the aura of the previous leader who launched an army to accuse her. She looked at Yi Ran standing by the pit, and then at Han Kun lying in the pit. My brain is a little down. What's the situation? Why is Han Kun lying in the pit? Why was Yi Ran standing by the pit intact? Did I misremember who was Platinum? Le Wanyi's mind is full of question marks now. Upon hearing Le Wanyi's inquiry, Deputy Director Wang on the side ran over in a hurry. He wiped his sweat and said with a flattering smile. Director Le, the person in the trap is Han Kun. Wang Chenghai glanced at the pit with disgust. Who would have thought that there would be such a morally corrupt teacher in our school? When Wang Chenghai said this, he wiped the corners of his eyes sadly. Han Kun told me at the time that there were conflicts among students in the cafeteria. He also said that a teacher deliberately favored the students in his class and asked me to bring justice. Think about it, I can tolerate my bad temper, so I followed Han Kun to the cafeteria and couldn't help but talk about Teacher Yi. Wang Chenghai patted his thigh. To be honest, I really deserve to die. I didn't even understand the cause of the matter, so I misunderstood Teacher Yi like this. This paragraph of Wang Chenghai's words is very artistic. In just a few words, he explains his problems in one stroke. Although he admitted his problem, it didn't seem very serious. Later, Wang Chenghai excitedly pulled Yi Ran over. Yi Ran ducked slightly and easily avoided Wang Chenghai's hand. Wang Chenghai jumped away, slightly embarrassed, but he still boasted. Fortunately, Mr. Yi is an upright person. In order to protect the interests of students, he is willing to fight against evil regardless of his own safety. Wang Cheng was eloquent and boasted so much that he wished he could use what he had learned throughout his life on Yi Ran. Le Wanyi frowned slightly impatiently. Let's get to the point. Oh, okay. Wang Chenghai nodded obediently. He organized his words and continued. Actually, it was Han Kun, the bastard, who incited the students to deliberately bully Teacher Yi's students. Teacher Yi is here to seek justice. Later on, Teacher Yi and Han Kun had a conflict. Let's forget about the fight in the school. Who would have thought that Han Kun, a bastard with no martial ethics, would actually activate his jade transformation ability? After hearing this, Le Wanyi's heart tightened slightly. As the dean of students, she naturally understands the difficulties of Han Kun's jade transformation ability. For a moment, she glanced at Yi Ran inadvertently, fearing that somewhere on Yi Ran's body was suffering from an irreversible disease. Seemingly noticing Le Wanyi's eyes, Wang Chenghai continued to speak with understanding. But fortunately, Teacher Yi is extremely talented and invincible. He actually defeated Han Kun with gold and no injuries. Teacher Yi is really unparalleled. We can have such a teacher in our freshman year. This is what a happy event. Wang Chenghai was flattering her crazily, but Le Wanyi couldn't listen to a word at this time. Gold defeats platinum without injury. If someone told her such a thing normally, she would just sneer and smile. After all, the iron rule that you can't challenge platinum by leapfrogging is deeply rooted in people's hearts. But now this situation is happening in front of me. Han Kun couldn't have beaten himself into such a state, lying in a deep pit, right? The strong sense of unreality made Le Wanyi feel dizzy. She looked at Yi Ran deeply. ever since he learned that Yi Ran had broken through the golden barrier. She could already imagine that Yi Ran would become a blockbuster with his genius. But he never expected that Yi Ran's shocking first battle would be so earth-shattering. For a moment, Luoyi recalled what her aunt Le Enjing told her. Yi Ran's potential, not to mention the fighting skills of 3 aristocratic families, is worth fighting for despite the pressure of the melee of the 3 kingdoms. Luoyi took a deep breath. Xiaofan's vision was really sharp. Before, she thought that this sentence was exaggerated. Le Enjing said it deliberately to match them up. But now, she not only did not think that her aunt did not exaggerate, but even underestimated Yi Ran a little bit. It was unprecedented to be able to break the platinum iron rule with a golden appearance. Once this matter spread, Luoyi knew without thinking. Yi Ran will become a favorite of all major superpowers. Those who want to accept disciples, marry, and recognize relatives will come to visit one after another. Wait for marriage. Thinking of this, Luoyi's heart tightened and her eyebrows wrinkled slightly. Seeing that Luoyi frowned and seemed to be in a bad mood, the smart Wang Chenghai mistakenly thought that Luoyi was disgusted with Yi Ran's public fighting. So he immediately said, "Director Le, this has nothing to do with Teacher Yi. This is all my fault." Wang Chenghai said while pounding his chest in grief. "It's all my fault that I met the wrong person, my old eyes are blurry, and I can't see the true face of Han Kun, the hypocrite. I was bewitched by this hypocrite and caused the deterioration of this matter." Then Wang Chenghai deliberately stood in front of Yi Ran. He straightened his chest, raised his head and closed his eyes, looking like he was ready to die. "Director Le wants to punish you, so punish me. Everything about you has nothing to do with Teacher Yi. We can't let our genius mentor down in our freshman year." After that, Wang Chenghai deliberately put his hands behind his back and made a gesture to Yi Ran. Which meant, "Don't worry, I'm here." The students who saw this scene were all speechless. What does it mean to change your face? What does it mean to be thick-skinned? What does it mean to be able to take it and let it go? Deputy Director Wang's series of operations vividly gave students a lesson on workplace survival. Chapter 39. The verdict is a great relief. Naturally, Luoyi would not explain her inner thoughts. She silently walked to the edge of the pit and looked at Han Kun, then at Yi Ran. "Teacher Yi, do you know that fighting in private is not allowed in school?" Yi Ran nodded. "As a mentor, not only did I fail to lead by example, but I also took the lead in violating discipline. I am guilty of an additional crime. Teacher Yi, are you convinced?" Hearing that Luoyi seemed to be preparing to punish Yi Ran, Wang Chenghai lost face. "It's not Director Le, I already said that all this has nothing to do with Teacher Yi, it's all my problem." "Shut up, don't think I don't know that you and Han Kunhang work together to bully students. I will send your matter to the school discipline team for handling." Luoyi scolded impatiently. "Director Le, this is not necessary. Wang Chenghai felt a little guilty because of Luoyi's sudden rage. He wanted to explain but still couldn't say anything. Luoyi squinted her eyes and looked at Wang Chenghai. "Director Wang's mouth is really powerful, even black can be said to be white." Director Le, don't talk nonsense." Wang Chenghai felt a little guilty and did not dare to look into Luoyi's eyes, but he still stiffened his neck and said. Looking at Wang Chenghai, who refused to admit it, Luoyi continued. "I have here 12 anonymous letters reporting that you and Han Kun colluded to defraud students of bursaries, and there are 10 reporting letters that Han Kun assaulted students, but you, Director Wang, chose to protect them. But you too do have some tricks, the accounts are clean, and no one dares to provide evidence, which makes me unable to catch any valid evidence for so long." Luoyi looked at Wang Chenghai, her aura rising. "Now it's okay, I can finally send you to the school discipline committee with justifiable authority. I believe that with the methods of the school discipline committee, everything will be made public." After hearing this, Wang Chenghai broke into a cold sweat and his legs trembled slightly. In a place like the school discipline committee, unless you really have a clear conscience, as long as there is a problem with the teacher, you will have to skin him even if you don't die there. And he can't stand the investigation. Once someone like him gets into a place like the school discipline committee, his life will be over. Director Le, you can't send me into a place like this. You have no right to send me in. Wang Chenghai roared madly. No power. Yes, I have no power, but they do. Luoyi pointed to the group of second-class students behind her. With their testimony, Wang Chenghai will definitely be sent to prison this time. Thinking of this, Wang Chenghai began to tremble all over, and a puddle of yellow soup unconsciously appeared at his feet. Luwanyi glanced at Wang Chenghai with some disgust. You alone are worthy of being a teacher. This sentence is exactly the same as what Yi Ran said. Then, Luwanyi turned her head and looked at Yi Ran. For a moment, the atmosphere in the cafeteria became tense again. Teacher Yi, do you know the rules in our school code? Yi Ran looked at Luwanyi and nodded. Since he chose to take action, he decided to bear the consequences. Director Le, Teacher Yi is a passive counterattack. Yes, Director Le, it was Han Kyun who beat the students in our class first, and then Teacher Yi did it. Director Le, Teacher Yi is not wrong. Even though Luwanyi had just crushed Wang Chenghai with just 3 sentences, her momentum was so frightening. But the students in class 2 still defended Yi Ran despite this amazing sense of oppression. Luwanyi pressed her hand to signal the students to be quiet. Everyone present fell silent, waiting for Luwanyi to make the final decision on this matter. Luwanyi took a sip and said her final decision. In view of the fact that the cause of this fight was all caused by Han Kyun, the instructor Han Kyun was mainly responsible. Half of the class's assessment score was deducted, and the remaining punishments were handed over to the school discipline committee. The instructor Yi Ran. Luwanyi paused for a moment. Instructor Yi Ran takes secondary responsibility and will deduct 5 points from the class assessment. If it is the first offense, he will only be given a verbal warning. If there is a next time, he will be severely punished. For Yi Ran, this punishment was loud and light, so it was not painful at all. As soon as Luwanyi's decision came out, the whole audience cheered. Director Le is wise. Director Le is Bao Qingtian alive. Long live Director Le. Everyone was very happy that Yi Ran didn't have to be punished. Only Yi Ran's mouth twitched slightly. No, will class assessment points be deducted? The system task is to get first place in grade. Director Le, let's not deduct credits. If not, you can send me to the school discipline committee. In order to complete the system tasks, Yi Ran was really anxious. Luwanyi was a little confused. She had never seen anyone make such a request. But after thinking about it, she felt it was reasonable. After all, Yi Ran really doesn't have many class credits left. If 5 more points are really deducted, then maybe it is really possible that he will be ranked last for re-election in this assessment and be expelled from the school. It turns out that Yi Ran is afraid of being expelled from school. Luwanyi thought to herself, looking at Yi Ran with a trace of joy in her eyes. Huh, if you didn't listen to my advice before and insisted on taking the assessment to save face, you would be anxious now. But naturally these cannot be expressed. Luwanyi still pretended to think deeply for a moment. He said to Yi Ran, it's not convenient to talk here. Come to the office with me. Afterwards, Yi Ran and Luwanyi left the scene. After seeing Yi Ran and Luwanyi leaving, the students were also preparing to leave the cafeteria one after another. Wang Dakin picked up his dropped school bag and was about to leave. But someone tapped him on the shoulder. Hey, silly guy. Where are you going? Wang Dakin turned around and looked around, but he didn't find the person who was photographing him. Silly man, where are you looking? Look down. Wang Dakin looked down and realized that the person speaking was Huang Dongdong. After seeing that it was Huang Dongdong, Wang Dakin smiled and touched his head. Is it you? I haven't had time to thank you yet. If you hadn't acted righteously, I might have been sent to the hospital by then. Huang Dongdong waved his hand. It's just a piece of cake. By the way, I'm asking you, silly guy, where are you going? Wang Dakin pointed at himself. Me. Of course I have to go back to our class. After Huang Dongdong heard this, he looked away slightly, as if he didn't want others to see his thoughts. Then, can I go to your class to audit? You. Wang Dakin was stunned for a moment. What are you doing in our class? Just ask me if I can go. Oh, why are you so nagging? Huang Dongdong said impatiently. Forget it if you don't let me go, I still don't hesitate to go. Wang Dakin chuckled. Let go, let go. Let me tell you, our teacher Yi is very good. Okay, I'm not blind, I can see. Huang Dongdong held his head behind his hands and muttered, this idiot fanboy. Wang Dakin, who was interrupted by Huang Dongdong, was not annoyed. He still looked honest and honest. Then you come with me. I will help you pack up the tables and chairs. You go first. I know the way. I'll go there in a minute. Huang Dongdong waved his hand like a brat. After Wang Dakin left, Huang Dongdong stared at the pit for a long time without saying a word. His mind also started to wander. Thinking back to Yi Ran's last few neat moves. The whole person couldn't help feeling that he was shuddering, it was beaten so hard. Huang Dongdong muttered to himself, only gold can crush platinum. What kind of monster is this? Master is right, there are people outside the world, and there is a sky outside the world. Compared with that Yi Ran, I am indeed far behind. Then he snapped his fingers, and a ball of flame appeared out of thin air in his hand. Huang Dongdong said to the flame, Master, my disciple has found the class you mentioned that can teach me. The teachers in this class are very strong. There will be no problem in giving me guidance. This should be the strongest class in the entire freshman year. I guess my junior brother must be in this class. So I won't go home for the time being. After a while, I will take my junior brother to the sect together. Don't miss me, I love you Dongdong. After saying that, Huang Dongdong rubbed his fingers slightly. The flame disappeared smoothly, and a wisp of smoke floated towards the sky. Watch the green smoke slowly drift away. In the fire gate, Huo Wen, who was closing his eyes to relax, suddenly felt something in his mind. Then, he grabbed it out of thin air, using the same technique as Huang Dongdong. Rub your fingers together. A wisp of green smoke instantly turned into flames. What Huang Dongdong said before came out completely from the flames. After listening, Huo Wen stroked the beard on his chin and raised the corners of his mouth slightly. This brat is still so clever. When Huang Dongdong went out, he never told Huang Dongdong. I wanted to take the opportunity to let Huang Dongdong find the hidden super genius. The disciple is really grown up. Not only can I save myself worries, but I can also help my master turn around and help his disciples. HMPH, I'm still smart. Those old guys are still trying to pick on the principal, but I've already got there first. Thinking of this, Huo Wen couldn't help laughing. The beard on his chin stood up. Chapter 40 Our class will definitely take first place. Director La, really, you should send me to the school disciplinary committee. I am willing to be punished and will never complain. In La Wanyi's office, Yi Ran paced back and forth and assured La Wanyi. La Wanyi waved her hand and looked at Yi Ran with a smile. No, Teacher Yi, the matter is very clear. My punishment for you is absolutely objective and fair. According to your question, I absolutely cannot send you to the school discipline committee. But I hit the teacher, and I even seriously injured him. As if afraid that La Wanyi wouldn't believe it, Yi Ran pinched his fingers and kept pulling. You see, I broke Han Qun's elbow, dislocated Han Qun's right shoulder, and gave Han Qun a concussion on the left side of his head. The last blow broke at least 5 to 6 of Han Qun's ribs. Director La is shocked, my behavior is simply unforgivable. Yi Ran said righteously to La Wanyi. Really, Director La, I can't even describe it. As a freshman tutor, I am so ashamed that I would do such a thing. In order to maintain fairness and justice for our freshman class, Director La, I sincerely beg you to send me to the school discipline committee. After hearing the various crimes Yi Ran mentioned, La Wanyi still looked at Yi Ran with a smile on her face, unmoved. No, Teacher Yi, although you hit someone, it was also out of subjective factors such as loving your disciples. As the teaching director, I naturally have to take it into consideration, so I don't think there is any problem with my handling, Teacher Yi. Just deduct some points from the class assessment, you really don't need to join the school discipline committee. Looking at La Wanyi who was not getting enough food, Yi Ran was anxious. Wang Xiaoman, who was standing at the side of the office, couldn't help but twitching at the corner of his mouth as he watched the two men singing. Unparalleled wonders. It was the first time in her life that she saw a teacher desperately accepting punishment, and it was also the first time in her life that she saw a dean refusing to let the teacher accept punishment. Director La, aren't you afraid that after your verdict, it will be difficult for you to carry out your future work? What should the students think of you, and what should the teachers think of you? Yi Ran said eagerly. Not afraid. La Wanyi remained unmoved with a smile on her face. She didn't know why looking at Yi Ran running around anxiously, she felt a little secretly happy in her heart. I made you not listen to my advice. Seeing that she couldn't help La Wanyi at all, Yi Ran was completely convinced. He sat down on the sofa and smashed the jar. Then I don't care. You can fine me as much as you want, but you can't deduct our class's assessment scores anyway. Seeing Yi Ran stop, La Wanyi raised her head and motioned to Wang Xiaoman to bring the tea that had been made long ago, and said slowly. I understand how you feel, and I also know what you think. The final exam is around the corner, and your class is still counting down to make a comeback. Every point is extremely important. Yi Ran took a sip of tea and glanced at Luoyi angrily. Knowing that you still do this, aren't you just making it clear that you are in trouble with our class too? Don't be impatient to listen. I'll analyze it for you slowly. Luoyi still said slowly, actually, after our argument in the nightclub, I carefully calculated the scores of your class. Based on the current scores of your class, in the final assessment, if your class can get the first place in the grade in the individual battle assessment and the top 8 in the team battle assessment, you will definitely be able to successfully advance to our entire freshman class. Midstream stage. I saw Wang Dakin in your class today, and I feel that the improvement in strength is quite amazing. Coupled with Zhang Xiaoru's words, there is great hope that both individual and team battles will reach the standard. Even if your class is deducted a few points now, with these results, you will definitely pass the final assessment indicators by then. Don't worry, you won't be expelled. Hearing Luoyi's words, Yi Ran put down the teacup and shook his head. It's really not possible, Director Le doesn't get enough. Luoyi looked at Yi Ran in confusion. How could it be not enough? I calculated these points one by one. It's absolutely impossible. Yi Ran looked at Luoyi and said seriously. If we are just striving for the middle of the pack, this point is definitely enough, but our class wants to be the first in the grade. Originally, the previous points have dropped so much, and now if we have to deduct a few more points, this first place it's really suspenseful. PFF'd. After hearing this, Luoyi spit out the tea she just drank. What? What did you say? Get first place. What's the problem, Director Le? Facing Yi Ran's inquiry, Luoyi's eyes widened. You sure? Of course I am sure. Not only am I sure, I am also extremely confident that our class is definitely capable of winning this first place, so Director Le really can't deduct this point in other aspects. Seeing Yi Ran who was so decisive, Luoyi rubbed her temples. I really don't know if I'm hallucinating or if Yi Ran is crazy. Luoyi hesitated to speak, but finally couldn't help but said. Yi Ran, do you know that there are quite a lot of monsters in our freshman year? Luoyi counted them carefully. You should have seen the 4 students in Han Qun's class. In addition, our class has 3 A-level awakeners and 5 children from aristocratic families in our freshman year, not to mention the 2 exchange students from the sect organization. Almost every student has reached the late golden stage. Yi Ran listened to what Luoyi said and said nonchalantly, I know, what does this have to do with me? These are all competitors of your class. According to your class's current results, if you want to get the first place in the final exam, your class cannot lose to any of these people. Then just knock them all down. Yi Ran's matter-of-fact words made Luoyi speechless for a long time. She didn't know where Yi Ran got such strong confidence. Is it just relying on Zhang Xiaoru alone? Luoyi had a complicated expression, but she couldn't help but say. Let me tell you another piece of information. Recently, a student with talent comparable to Zhang Hidong appeared in our freshman year. Even if Zhang Xiaoru can defeat the students I mentioned above, what about this one? Is she really 100% sure? Quote. Zhang Hidong. Although Yi Ran was a nobody before, he had heard of the name of Zhang Hidong, who dominated the aristocratic family. For a moment, Yi Ran's face became serious. He really didn't know if Zhang Xiaoru could face Zhang Hidong head-on. After all, Zhang Xiaoru only had a few months left from her training to the final exam. Even if she was a monster, her improvement would be limited. Which class is Zhang Hidong 2 in? Yi Ran asked seriously. Luoyi rolled her eyes at Yi Ran. If I really knew which class he was in, I wouldn't be unable to call out his name. Then, Luoyi took out the previous photo from the drawer. Thank you for watching. Continue exploring the fascinating world of Chinese novels with us. Hit that subscribe button on Chinese Novel Audiobook to stay updated with our latest stories, and never miss out on a great listen. You are also a teacher, so you can understand. What do the marks in the photo mean? Such a demon genius is simply unimaginable. After taking the photo, Yi Ran remained silent for a long time. After all, he was too familiar with the cracks on the test robot.